Smells.
memory.
I'm triggered.
I agree.
I'm
I
actually
agree
shut the fuck
completely.
up. Shut the fuck
I
up.
agree
I'm
completely.
actually
It's
triggered.
not complete.
I shut the fuck up. I'm actually triggered to sounds and mostly triggered by smells. As I tried to explain to you that driving into Placerville 1,000 times, I've driven past a fucking Kentucky Fried Chicken. And one day, for some reason, the smell of that chicken threw me into a flashback. And the reason why that was is because when I was at Camp Baston and we were attacked by the Taliban and shit was blowing up, the one thing that I thought of, which was quite silly at the time, is I can't believe they're still making chicken.
I totally believe that. Having a very vivid memory with a very
It's
intense
not a
anxiety
fucking
spike.
vivid memory, you idiot. You are back there. You are there. You are in that
You
moment again.
so you're
And you
having
can
a visual hallucination that you're back there. Really?
Yeah,
oh my
PTSD
Why?
can induce that.
You do not look around and you are not in Afghanistan 20 years ago. This is not an it's not a hallucination. You are not hallucinating.
let me give you an example of something else that happened. My niece, who is autistic, does this thing called scripting. And I
Do
dealt with
you
it for
or
the
do
first
you
time.
not hallucinate?
Shut up, I'm telling you something. She was telling me that there were people hiding behind the trees, and I'd been dealing with her for about 3 hours. And I started thinking there were Terrys behind the trees. And I started thinking, and then I started actually thinking, okay, there's Taliban out there. And I started to panic because I started thinking, okay, they're out there. And my brain went to that place. Yes, well, I actually, for those few moments, and that's why I have my dog who actually senses these things, and she is trained to do certain things to help bring me out of it. And at that moment, even though she was nudging me and doing all the things that she should have been doing, I was still locked in. I was no longer on my property talking to my niece. I was fucking looking for the Taliban.
So you were having a full-blown hallucinogenic episode.
I think it's just a product of our mental issues. Molly has well-known mental issues, so I mean, it's probably
I'm
just that.
wondering if her PTSD episodes have hallucinogenic components.
Yeah, PTSD does some weird stuff to the brain. So yeah, I would bet it has some shit like that.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. But this whole idea that Molly is just so out of touch with, she thinks
Also, it's
that
not
she thinks
hallucinogenic,
guiding
by the
someone
way.
with a she thinks guiding someone that's
Hallucinatory
going through a
every
drug
time.
withdrawal through a visualization exercise can somehow trigger a schizophrenic episode. It's just
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
no.
Yes. Anytime you're dealing with somebody who has a past traumatic event and you are taking them back to that place, absolutely. That is why when you are seeing a therapist and you are talking about actually going into any form of regression therapy, there is a lot of work that is done with that patient that you feel comfortable and that patient feels comfortable going back to that place. It's not just, hello, my name is fucking Ned and I'm ready for regression therapy. Do you fucking understand any of that?
It's something to be mindful of, definitely. That this person
Mindful of.
This person can start crying, start reliving all these emotions. Yes, the whole idea is you're trying to get up these repressed emotions. So yes, you absolutely have to be conscious about this. A lot of people after they do it are
You don't have the training for this, so I do not believe you do it. Unless you're in some fucking, I don't know, some fucking woohoo bullshit where they have no regulations. There's no way in the fucking earth you do any form of this therapy.
Well, what's the claim on the table that there's some distinction you're making? Oh fuck.
The whole claim is that Molly says that I'm not qualified to be leading
No, you're
people
not. You're not.
with anxiety and depression through visualization exercises.
Yeah, of course you're not. Of course you're not. That's not under contention. No one's going to contend that except for your dumbass. Of course you're not.
What do you mean I'm not? How am I able to work at a rehab and guide people through these exact same visualization exercises if I'm not qualified and trained to do so?
Because you're not doing them. You're lying.
Well, let me just be
That's
clear.
what we're
What's
doing.
on the table? You're trying to say there's something else besides hallucination that's a simpler experience, but not hallucination or something? Is that what's on the table?
The table is Molly's out of touch with anything related to mental illness treatment, and guiding someone through a visualization exercise is very commonplace.
Look, you're not
it's
answering the question. Just get to the claim.
surgery.
Just-
Visualization exercises are very powerful. They can also be very
Michael, did
been a
you
while.
hear what he said? That when I tried to explain to him what a PTS episode flashback is, that he said I was lying when you actually think that you are back there in that place, and there are times when you cannot hear other people around you
She
trying to
said
talk to
she
you,
was having
that you actually
hallucinogenic transportation back in time.
I heard some of that, but I'm just really interested in what Shamos was talking about. Let's just get to the bottom of that. Why don't you, instead of running around starting a bunch of fires like you normally do, why don't you actually talk about a single claim there, Sugar?
Molly, the claim
do
is that
that?
I'm not qualified to be guiding people through visualization exercises in a rehab. That's the claim.
So this all started because you guide people through visualization exercises, and Molly was contending your right to do so.
Yes, exactly.
And I specified that visualization therapy and what you did trying to do with Ray, which is a regression therapy, those are completely different things. And for the simple fact that you don't know the difference between visualization and actually regression tells me you know fuck all.
Regression therapy is some term that's very outdated and no one uses anymore. Visualization exercises. Yes, I do. Love them. Big believer in the power of the mind. Mind is so powerful. You can do amazing things with the mind.
So what's the claim?
So you're just talking shit, is what you're saying.
Sorry. I don't care anymore.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
Oh shit.
See, let me give you an example of visualization. Let's say you have a person, you say, okay, well, at certain times I will feel a panic attack come on. No, okay, let's do some visualization. What I'd like you to do when you feel that, when you start to feel, because a lot of people that have panic attacks, there's little triggers that will start. When you start to feel those triggers coming on, what I'd like you to do is where's a good place that you enjoy being? The ocean, fantastic. What I'd like you to do is when you feel that coming on, I want you to visualize that you're standing on the beach, you're looking at the water, you hear the waves, you hear this, the calming effect. This is a good place for you to be. This is where I want you to go. Visualize the ocean, visualize the water, visualize the sun setting. That is visualization. What you did was a regression when you said, let's go back to a traumatic event that took place in your past. Two fucking completely different things.
That's not right at all. Visualization, yes, that is a great visualization exercise you just did, being at the beach. Yeah, it's just using the mind and taking it wherever you want to go. The idea that that visualization exercises are held to just being at a peaceful place in an anxious moment. I mean, it's just completely absurd.
But that's not what you did. What you did is you said, Ray, let's go back to a traumatic event that took place in your life and talk about it. That is what you did. Two completely fucking different things, you goddamn donkey fucking muppet.
You want to implement positive experiences into that episode. So it's just a more advanced, version of what you're talking about. Yes, these are there's many more. You do all sorts of things with the power of mind.
What you're talking about is called reframing. What you're talking about is called reframing.
I was talking about lifespan integration therapy. Actually, has a name. Exercise I did is called lifespan integrative therapy.
You're misrepresenting the science. What you're talking about,
literally the exercise that I
literally the exercise. I'll get to the end of this point. I'll get to the end of this point if it kills you. What you're talking about is called a reframing, which is a common tactic used in CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy. And the reason why reframing is used is because they don't ever go down to what is identically equivalent to that person's experience. They might talk about the things leading up to it or the ancillary experiences. And what they do is they reframe those ancillary experiences, such as the taste of metal in one's mouth, to like sucking on a penny rather than having an RKG3 blow up in your face. And that's called a reframing. When you say it's like more advanced or whatever, it's not more advanced. It's the same tactic used to not address the underlying issue. People develop these avoidance behaviors who have PTSD for a fucking good reason, is because what happens is their amygdala triggers, and once the amygdala triggers, they're gone. For like the next 30 minutes to 3 hours or however many, they're fucking gone. They might be responding to you cogently, but inside their mind, they're quite literally reliving different experience. And so when you talk about like walking through, I'm not done. I'll be done in a minute. When you talk about like walking through the sum total of an experience to avoid episodic behaviors, that's not what's going on. Reframing is not used in that way, and you're misrepresenting the current science on the topic. You know, fuck all about this. Like I said, you're just talking shit.
The exercise I described is actually defined as a Jungian active imagination exercise. So it comes from Carl Jung from 100 years ago. That technically is what it's called, not whatever the fuck you just said. So you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I don't know why you think 100 years ago is like the most recent, more advanced shit on PTSD development in terms of cognitive behavioral therapy. It just sounds like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Also, so first of all, second of all, you said regression.
The visualization exercise I gave you.
Second of all, you said that regression isn't used.
I'm a huge fan of DBT.
Term that's used. Second of all, you said regression isn't used in the literature with respect to current advancement in PTSD treatment. I can find you a study from 2015 just through a meta search through LexisNexis. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I just did it. It took me 15 seconds. So I don't know why you're just continuing to talk shit. You know, fuck all about the literature. You know, fuck all about the most advanced treatments. And the only thing that you've referenced so far is a fucking 100 years old when we called it shell shock and battle fatigue and not post-traumatic stress disorder before the CAP scale came out. So you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm a huge fan of DBT. The exercise that I was summarizing, one of the ones we do.
Do you want to address any of the points that I made where you're talking shit
part of
dialectical? 100-year-old, 100-year-old.
Michael, I let you speak. I sat quiet while you speak. Now let me speak.
I'll look, and I'm going to let you speak, but you're going to address the points that I made. That's what you're going to do.
Freedom definition of what I guided, what I summarized. It's called lifespan integration therapy technique. Okay, I gave you the verbatim definition. You can look it up. You can look what it is. It's not a regression. It's not a reframing. It comes from a Jungian imagination, active imagination exercise. It is a part visualization therapy. And it's just, you guys are just nonsense with your,
that sounds like your own
flyby.
Wait, we're using Jung now as an example of psychiatry?
This bullshit.
This is
we're using
incredible.
Jung
Did
as
you
an
want to
example.
address any of my points?
No, it's been incredible for like the last hour and a half, Michael, where he has just fucking spouted out nothing but bullshit, and he's trying to tell me that he goes in there and he conducts therapy sessions and that he does regression therapy with patients.
Regression therapy involves hypnosis. You stupid little fucking cocksuckers.
No, it does not always.
Yes, it does.
What are
It
you
does
talking
not
about?
always. It does no.
That would be called hypnotherapy.
Yes, they're completely
Well,
different.
then regression therapy is the most outdated
Actually,
term.
Do you want to address?
therapy
Do you want
does
to?
involve
Worked in rehabs for 4 or 5
Do you want to?
years.
Such as in EMDR, but it's not.
Yes,
so like
it's-
regression is used in the literature about
definitely
EMDR.
heard
It's
of
not used
EMDR.
in something that's like
Definitely heard of
hypnotic.
EMDR is very popular. It's blowing up like crazy. Definitely heard of that.
The ironic thing is I'm looking at the lifespan integration website, and it even does talk about hypnosis. So you actually trying to separate it from hypnosis is ironic.
The kind I did is a visualization exercise, a Jungian active imagination. Yeah.
And what do you mean imagination? You are taking a person back to a traumatic event that took place. So where is imagination fitting into that? You're asking
my
a
God,
person
read
to
about it.
relive a traumatic event in their past.
Active imagination is a cognitive methodology that uses imagination.
How
as
is
a
that
understanding.
imagination when you are asking someone to relive a past traumatic event?
Well, according to Carl Jung, the inventor of one of the inventors of modern psychology, imagination is a meditation technique in the you use images to
They don't. Okay, let me explain it to you. When you're doing regression, they don't say, "I want you to imagine." They're asking you to actually go back. They're not asking you to imagine.
Why are you so hung up on going back? There's nothing.
You did it because that's what you did with Ray. That's what you did with Ray.
With visualizations, you don't have to be stuck in a period of time with visualization exercises, Molly.
There's no choice.
Visualization exercises, you can go into the future, you can go back, you can go to anywhere you want. It's just your mind.
People with PTSD aren't living in La La Land.
Yes, they definitely need to go back to these traumatic experiences and release any pent-up emotion that they bottled up, or come to terms with anything they might be repressing. Yes, to heal from traumatic experiences, you definitely have to go back.
So you're going to refer to literature that's 100 years old, back when we called it shell shock and hooked dudes up to electrodes after they came back from World War I?
Well, if you're going to get into the weeds,
that sounds reasonable to me.
I'm not trying to get into the weeds here. I'm not trying to get into the weeds of this psychological definition, whatever. I don't give a shit. Okay, it's Molly that's tripping about all this fucking shit. When it comes to heal people, yeah, it's a good idea to have them start doing some power of the mind stuff, like visualization exercises, meditation. There's dozens. Yes, these are all good things. I would never warn against anyone from trying. Like Molly, who thinks it's the fucking end all that you can die from doing visualization exercises. This is insane.
Did I ever say you?
She didn't say that. That's a straw.
Say you can die?
He said you can get re-traumatized and it's the end of the world.
Yeah, but that's not the same as death, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that.
And a lot of times when you come over, when you quote, as you put it, you're
gonna commit suicide.
They are completely back in that traumatic state, and you wouldn't know how to deal with somebody who came back like that. So that's why I absolutely 100% believe that you do not do any of these therapy sessions, because I listened to the way you were supposedly taking Ray back there. First off, you did not have any guards up for him. You did not discuss anything about him prior, like, are you ready to go back? Is this something that you're ready to?
I was giving the briefest of summaries.
He asked you to demonstrate a session.
So Molly, he probably does do this, and that's the worrying thing. He probably works for some shitty institute that hires people with no qualifications and no experience dealing with people with PTSD.
You guys know nothing about healing people.
So, all right, let me ask you this, Sugar. What if I said, okay, I have a friend who she was brutally gang raped and beaten. Spent like a week in the hospital afterwards with broken bones and them re-sewing her anus and vagina together or whatever. And then like a month or two later, she wants to go to therapy. Would you suggest having a session where they relive that moment and try to hypnotize her or whatever and basically revisit that event?
No, but I would ask her, what if there's anything that she wants to visualize, anything else that, you ask them what they want to do. I don't force anything upon them. I don't, when I hand them the sheet, beforehand, I don't go, this is 100% what you have to visualize and work on. I go, is there anything you would like to visualize? I go, this is a visualization exercise. Are you interested? Is this something
we're not really talking about?
I can help you go through that.
We're not talking about what they would
I'm not forcing. I don't force anyone to do shit. Okay.
Right.
They volunteer.
Look, we're not talking about what they like, right? Like when a person who's a drug addict goes to the doctor, we're not talking about look, we're not going to make you do anything you don't want to do. Let's just do what you like, right? This question is framed.
Any scenario.
This question is framed in the circumstance that in this scenario we're trying to help them to get over this trauma, right? So now with that in mind, would doing that help them get over that trauma?
this person volunteers that they want to try coming to peace and bringing some peace to this traumatic experience, then sure, why would we stop them?
But look, it's just not like, look, they might not even ever heard of this. They don't know anything about this, right?
Do you think the memories of this girl's brutal attack are just going to go away? I mean, they're already there, Tom. Do you think anything we can do is going to make them worse?
I don't think that, like, reliving it makes memories go away.
Well, you're suggesting that if she voluntarily wants to explore this experience, 2 months post brutal attack or whatever, that somehow it's going to make her memories worse. I don't accept this hypothesis. No.
Look, I never said anything of the sort. All I was asking you is, do you think that would be good or alleviate the trauma from her attack?
If she voluntarily wants to explore, I see no problem.
So is the idea like a no you tactic? Like you traumatize her to make the trauma go away? Like, is that
to come to peace with traumatic experiences, not in every case, but most of them, yes, you do have to go back and you have to
traumatize her even more.
Yeah,
you have to resolve.
That's funny. See, that's funny because when you talk about that, what you're talking about is not something like EMDR. It's not CBT, right? What you're talking about is prolonged. What you're talking about is akin to something like prolonged exposure therapy, and more people who treat PTSD are moving away from that because of the harm that it causes. In fact, clinical outcomes out at like different markers like 2, 3, and 5 year evaluation, 2, 3, and 5 years after their exit from the VA system, their experiences with prolonged exposure aren't nearly as successful as their exposure to cognitive behavioral therapy, which is why CBT is considered the gold standard for treating PTSD, in addition to medications.
CBT is no longer. CBT was invented in the 80s. It is no longer the gold standard. DBT is the gold standard. CBT is a precursor to DBT. It's still good. It's not the gold standard. You're out of touch. And exposure therapy.
I know because I studied this in grad school. You fuck.
The concept of exposure is in no way, shape, or form in danger of becoming out use. This is solid.
They're moving away from it. They're moving away from it.
No one is doing it. I challenge you.
They're moving away from it.
I challenge you to cite
They're moving. I swear I'm gonna get to the end of the sentence.
Yo, I'll mute you, Sugar, if you don't stop.
They're moving therapists, specifically in the Department of Veterans Affairs, Human Health and Research Development Team, is suggested moving away from prolonged exposure because of its clinical outcomes as compared to CBT and other things. Prolonged exposure.
Don't interrupt him.
Prolonged exposure is something that has been delayed clinical outcomes, and the reason why CBT is being used is because it's not as what Molly was talking about earlier. When I tried to interject, Molly's correct in saying it takes a lot of work on behalf of the patient. In fact, it's like 15, 16 weeks of it. It's exhausting. It's 3 times a week minimum, and you have these patients who they literally can't function in their daily lives because they have this mental exhaustion from doing CBT work. That's just CBT. Prolonged exposure therapy qualified one for 100% disability because it was said that if you went to prolonged exposure or EMDR, that you literally could not go back to work during these times. That was EMDR, prolonged exposure, were exclusively held for intensive outpatient and inpatient treatments. CBT is the only one where you can still maintain a job, continue with a rigorous trauma schedule, and still participate in life functionally. It doesn't debilitate you, which would be consistent with what Molly is saying that trauma work is actually doing more harm than good. Your mic.
This is so easy to shut down. Yes, you're citing a study that you haven't cited, by the way, where they had to choose between exclusive therapies. They could either just do CBT or just do EMDR. yeah, I would never in a million years recommend just one or the other. So, Michael, of course.
I never said that. We're talking about clinical outcomes between treatment. It wasn't a choice. It wasn't a choice. It was talking about clinical outcomes. It's talking about you just misrepresented what I just said. You just misrepresented what I just said.
5 minutes and you didn't give me 30
Don't
seconds.
misrepresent me, because the next time you misrepresent me, I'm going to overtalk you a little less.
So if you're saying that each group wasn't doing exclusive therapies, then how were they able to measure anything in the study? Of course they had to be doing exclusive.
Of course they're doing exclusive therapies.
They're doing exclusive
therapies. That's the control.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's the control.
Well, Michael, I personally would never in a million years.
You treated it like a dichotomy. You just misrepresented it. Like it was just a dichotomy.
Can someone help me, please? Michael is just over-talking me.
Help yourself. Help yourself.
Michael, of course
stop misrepresenting what I said.
Me again. Michael, no, of course you don't treat it with just exclusive one or the other. No, you should do both, Michael. Of course you should do both. So don't cite me some exclusive study as evidence for how the best way to treat mental illness. No, you shouldn't do either one exclusively. You should do both of them, Michael. Both of them.
Okay, great. So here's the deal, right? How are you going to be, as a clinician, capable of discerning which treatment is more effective without the control?
Why would you want to be doing either treatment exclusively at all?
I just asked you a question. Don't ask me a question in response to mine.
It seems like from this study that you've yet to cite, by the way, that if you were to do exclusive groups, one just doing EMDR exposure therapy and one just doing cognitive behavioral therapy, it sounds like that the cognitive behavioral therapy group does a little bit better. But now you've done nothing to address the fact that they should be combined. They should be used both at the same time. And why do you have a problem with using both at the same time, Michael? Do you have a problem?
I do have a problem, so long as the studies in the most recent research that's coming out of the Human Health and Behavioral Research and Development Group from the VA says that when given controls, the CBT groups outperform the prolonged exposure groups marginally, significantly.
So what does the VA say about using both at the same time? Do they have a problem with this?
Of course, the VA is going to say something like, look, some people could use prolonged exposure, but those people who are making that determination are qualified individuals. Okay, those people are not like you who are wearing sweat. I'm not done. Those people are not people like you who are showing up in ripped t-shirts, white t-shirts with shit written all over it and sweatpants, talking lightning incense and guiding people through the most traumatic moments of their life. These are people who are qualified experts that know what the CAPS scale is, know how to diagnose people based on ordinal values from surveys from not only themselves, but their family members who are part of their ongoing support system. And those determinations are made comprehensively, not by somebody who's like gonna just merely suggest meditation like you. It could be the case that both are best for the patient, but you're not in a position to determine that, dumbass.
Right, so honest to God, if I were based on just anecdotal my beliefs, I would say the CBT is a little bit more effective of a model. If I had, and I would never do this, but if I had to just choose one between EMDR and DBT, I would of course choose DBT. But I mean, I would never just choose just one. I don't understand why we have to.
And the research shows that most people who are post-deployment, which is within 5 years, and now I'm talking about PTSD as it relates to combat, right? I'm not talking about military sexual trauma or rape or something like that, other forms of PTSD, which I'm just unfamiliar with. I'm only familiar with combat-related PTSD from my grad studies. Research shows that when soldiers are in post-deployment, that's within 5 years of exiting the military, you usually get 1 or 2 chances with these guys. And when you put them through trauma work, it's so exhausting and it's so financially debilitating because the VA can't process claims in the 3 months that it takes them to put a program. So they're like, fuck this, I'm losing money, I'm constantly exhausted, I can't go back to work because I'm physically and emotionally exhausted. They're just never gonna do trauma work again. I have been in a position, thankfully, where I've had to go through 2 sessions of CBT, prolonged exposure therapy, EMDR. I've tried everything. I've done trauma work 5 fucking times. right?
Not change your diet.
I'm an exception to I'm a vegan and I have a meditation. What are you talking about, stud? I'm a vegan and I have a meditation bench. I could take pictures for you right now. I promise you I meditate more than your ass.
You eat donuts, Michael. You eat fucking donuts. Come on. Stop.
I eat donuts? What made you say that? I haven't had a donut.
I've heard you go on and on about how
my wife goes, look, you're just gish galloping now, but I have evidence against all of this shit, right? My wife goes gets donuts every Saturday, and I haven't had a donut in fucking I don't know how long. Okay, so I'm a vegan, and I have a meditation bench that I made for myself. I had veggie crumbles with rice. I had veggie stir fry with almonds and nuts, and I had a banana for breakfast. With a decaf coffee.
How is your PTSD doing?
My PTSD. We're not talking about what my PTSD is doing, because it would be unrelated. In fact, if I got personal with you right now, those things that I'm telling you that I'm doing would not be working, and it would go. That anecdotal evidence would be against your fucking point. Okay?
No, I'm saying
those things
you should be doing improving.
You keep interrupting me, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? I'm doing all the things that you're suggesting other people do, and my PTSD hasn't gotten better. It waxes and wanes. It just depends on what I do. It depends on things that are different factors that are external to me. I don't have control over it. I mean, things have gotten better for a while. They've gotten worse. That just depends. But that anecdotal evidence is going to be different from what the fuck you're claiming.
If I had to guess,
the fact of the matter is, and I'm not looking for your guess, you sweatpants wearing fuck. I'm not looking for your guess because you're an unqualified child who doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about and jerks off to TV shows with Dr. Oz on it. If I wanted to take somebody's advice, they'd be fucking qualified to give at least one of those 5 different trauma things that are clinically proven to work, not some kid like you. So my point is this: it may be the case that more than one fucking therapy session is warranted, but the problem is the pragmatic issue is that these therapists only get 1 or 2 chances with these vets or people suffering PTSD before they're fucking gone, before they go and get addicted to something, and before they go elsewhere and do shit. And you putting somebody who you're not trained to fucking evaluate through something akin to prolonged exposure therapy is a fucking affront on medical ethics.
I agree with a lot of things you're saying. Of course, to that point, I think you need to use both therapy models together to be most effective. But yeah, I would lean slightly. I mean, I don't know why you have to be forced to just choose one. I guess because what you're saying, these guys come in for like.
You don't have to fucking be forced. Did you listen to anything that I just said?
Yeah, you just said that
you usually get 1 or 2 chances, and so the fucking therapist has to pick, and that's why they control for these variables. It might be the case that both work. I'm going to repeat myself a third time. But usually, if you only get 1 or 2 chances, you have to do what's most clinically effective. The way you figure that out is by controlling between groups who enter one intervention group or another.
I'm in a total agreement with everything you're saying. Yes, since you only get 1 or 2 therapy sessions,
and stop talking shit about stuff you don't know about. Talking about ideas about PTSD and psychology that are 100 years old when we were castrating homosexuals and fucking giving people with shell shock. We didn't even call it PTSD, electroshock therapy. Get fucked with your 100-year-old bullshit. Stop talking shit. Sit down, shut the fuck up, wear sweatpants, dance on camera, and be a fucking monkey, because that's what you are. Dance when we tell you to dance, but shut your mouth when it comes to mental health.
I'm cured of mental illness. I hope one day, Michael, you can find the peace that I found mentally. I don't know what you're doing wrong.
You lack keto diet.
Take 0 drugs.
Okay, if I may, he says he's cured, yet he just admitted
peaceful.
Earlier that he still carries his Klonopin.
Michael, you know, honestly,
because he's afraid of having a panic attack.
Listening to Michael speak, if I had to guess,
I'm gonna take advice from somebody who wears sweatpants and pops Klonopin.
One of the things I think you're doing wrong
and accuses people of being wrong for taking benzos to calm their PTSD.
One of the things I think you're doing wrong. One of the things I think you're doing wrong is you're very negative. Very negative. I've listened to you very excited. You look at the world, you look at the world, your worldview is very negative. I think a lot. If you really knew cognitive behavioral therapy, like you say you do, you know that thoughts influence.
What's an ABC worksheet? What's an ABC worksheet?
It's like
what's an ABC worksheet?
So if you spend
What's an ABC worksheet?
as much time,
No, sugar,
Michael,
sugar. No. We're gonna figure this out right now. What's an ABC worksheet?
There are hundreds of DBT and CBT worksheets. Just because I don't know every worksheet doesn't mean anything, Michael.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean, I love this.
Michael had me for a second because he said he had a meditation bench and he ate this healthy stir fry or whatever. And I was like, oh my god, maybe Michael is doing the right shit.
Yeah, well, he posts his food.
I remembered, oh yeah, no, Michael hates everything and it thinks everything sucks and is the most negative person I've ever heard.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Haven't you seen Michael post his food?
It looks terrible. It's like vegan, terrible looking vegan food.
Yeah,
it's like perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't look appetizing.
But it is vegan. It's like good for your soul or something, for positive vibes and manifesting your future positively. Something.
It's like tofu made to look like chicken or something like that. I remember that one.
Yeah, it's awful. I mean, I like, look, the advertisements come in the mail. I just want a fucking Swiss cheeseburger, but I got to eat shit like that. Right? That's me. That's what I'm hearing.
Do you know what tofu is, Michael?
Yeah, here's a picture for tofu that I prepared. I mean, like, I'm doing all the things.
You know what?
Sugar is saying.
You know what a bear particular is?
No, you're very negative. Very negative. And also, is this organic tofu? You know that soy has incredible amounts of pesticides.
No, it's inorganic tofu. It's actually made from rocks.
Yeah, it's ether. But there's nothing to me more entertaining than this kind of like spiritual talk about manifesting positivity into your life and like karma and stuff and shit like that. It's so entertaining. I love it.
There's nothing spiritual guru about it. Cognitive behavioral therapy is the concept that your thoughts influence your feelings. That means you can't walk around all day long if you have depression like fucking Michael. You can't walk around all day long thinking a bunch of negative shit. The world sucks. The world is meaningless. We're all meaningless fucking ants. My life sucks. I'm not as good as I want to be.
What I see is Michael building a pond for his kids, spending time with his children, enjoying life to the best of our ability for those of us who have PTSD, and then we come in here and get to play with little fuck muppets like you. Life is good.
But it's also like under that view where like you can choose your own thoughts or something. Is like that the idea that they like spontaneously like emerge from nowhere and you're not influenced by anything that's going on in your life?
You can't control
and you can like choose them like at a fucking grocery store.
You can't choose what thoughts you have, but then once you have those thoughts, you can address them and turn them into more positive and reframe them. Also, you can you can choose what you think. Like I can think right now, life is good, life is good, life is good. Like I'm choosing that, and life is good.
I don't think you're choosing that, but
Michael walks around all day long going,
I also think you're lying.
Life is meaningless. My life sucks. My life sucks. He probably thinks stuff like, "Oh, I wish I'd never, married this woman, and I wish I."
But one second. But it's also like so patently like obvious, right, that you're lying when you say that you think of your life as like being positive, right? Like you wouldn't be doing this shit on Discord if you were happy with yourself. You're like obviously like pretty miserable, right?
I had already established earlier that this donkey fucker right here, all he does is sit in front of the mirror, take selfies, and try to convince himself as how good looking he is. That's it. That's
just insecurity.
Yeah. He's absolutely insecure, and I've called him on that multiple times. Because anyone who feels the need to post selfies of themselves one after another and after another, and explain to us how healthy he is, how good looking he is, how that he's one of the best looking people here on Discord. Your need to just focus on that tells me that you're pretty fucked.
It's just like confirmed every second too that we talk about it, because like someone who's truly secure about himself, right, if someone is shit talking them like we are, right? They're not like gonna respond and try to explain on a person on the internet why their life is good. They're just gonna say, yeah, whatever, cool, and then just go ahead and say nothing, right?
Literally literally my whole everything I say is positive. All I'm do is talk about thankfulness and positivity and acceptance. And what? Like, really? Where have you guys been?
Except you're not positive to anyone else. You don't
I spend maybe 20 minutes looking at myself in a mirror a day. I spend nearly 2 hours every day channeling acceptance, thankfulness.
This is like when people.
I go to church and I cry and I talk to God and cry.
Nobody here should be lecturing anybody.
I sit in deep meditation out by trees. I literally sit in front of trees.
But Brenda,
with rented dogs out near trees, catching chlamydia.
Brenda, the point is not to say that.
I sit out in nature in reflective contemplation. I literally am going from this to the beach.
Sugar, stop over talking.
Contemplation and go, thank you, God.
Time, please.
I literally just sit there and go, thank you, God, for the ocean. Thank you, God.
Sugar, somebody was talking.
No, I was just trying to say to Brenda that I don't think that anyone thinks in this room that they're like just as normal as like people in real life, or that they're not insecure in some way. They just don't posture like Sugar does, and they don't like get defensive when people call them out and stuff like he does. It's just it's not to say that we're like role models. No, it was just getting the impression that you were saying that we were virtue signaling or whatever. Or
yeah, you're virtue signaling, you're dick sizing, you're being verbally abusive, you're talking about therapy, but there isn't a single therapist on earth that would look at this conversation and think it was even remotely healthy.
No, I agree. I agree this is useless. But
did anyone posit that this conversation was a form of therapy,
Well,
Brenda?
you're lecturing people. You're lecturing people on therapeutic.
Am I lecturing
not
people?
You.
Was I? Okay, then why are you saying you when you're responding?
It's third person plural, you fucking moron.
no, but Brenda, but like you know what Sugar does normally to people who have like,
Well, yeah.
you know, to Molly or something. He tells
them.
Like, do you
admirable
agree?
Behavior on your part, or not your part, but everybody else's.
But like, I mean, like Sugar is a guy that tells like people with cancer.
Lecturing people and dick-sizing people about therapeutic approaches. It is just insane.
But you don't think? Just 1 second. Let me just say one sentence. But you don't think it's warranted in some way for someone like Molly, for instance, to respond with some facsimile of like actual scientific information when she's being accused of like having had cancer because she has a negative mindset or something? Like, didn't you find that?
Yeah, I think that Molly is correct in doing
This is a complete mischaracterization. Also, totally.
Hold on, don't interrupt.
Molly
taking any credit for her.
Sugar, hang on a second, buddy.
Sugar, Molly is definitely in her rights to be upset with you. I don't have a problem with the conversation.
I legitimately said, Molly, I cannot blame anything you did on you getting cancer. I literally took that back and said, I apologized that I ever insinuated that. I apologized.
Yeah. But you continue doing similar things.
Why does it keep getting brought up over and over again after public?
So, Sugar, let me ask you a question. So, Molly is an actual registered nurse.
Never insinuated that thinking negatively can bring about cancer.
Sugar, Molly is a registered nurse.
Although it will influence it. It can, influence it.
Are you not even listening to me? So why do I even talk?
Yeah, exactly. But like, the point is that Sugar was doing the same thing basically to Michael about his PTSD. Yeah, don't worry. About PTSD and stuff, and like you don't have a positive enough mindset. Like, what is this garbage? It's just to be laughed at and like ignored.
Well, now when it comes to
he tried to tell me what my PTSD flashback episodes are like. So when I tried to explain to him, you get into that mindset, you can't hear people around you, you're not aware of them, and he says, what are you telling me? Yeah, totally. It's like trying to tell me that what my experiences are fake, or I'm making it up.
Complete mischaracterization. I mean, it's so dishonest, Molly. It's like, you know what you're doing, and why are you doing
there
it?
anyone else in this room that was listening to that part of the discussion agree or disagree with me? Let me know.
I agree.
No,
I agree. I don't think that Sugar is in a position to say whether or not Molly's qualia is fucking occurring or not. I think if Molly's having certain brain states, we ought to trust her when she says she's having those fucking brain states. He's the one being skeptical about this, or at least skeptical about the causes, despite some sort of like deontologic effort by Molly to, go to therapy, take medicines, put herself in an environment that's conducive of positive mental health outcomes. And it's, when somebody comes on here, wearing fucking sweatpants, talking like a little girl, like who's just confused about the world, I'm just skeptical of his ability to be diagnosing people like Molly, or saying what the problem is.
Are you a professional in this area? I don't know anything about what you do as a living, Michael.
I don't do anything for a living right now. I'm waiting to go back to work. I was supposed to be told on Monday if I could go back to work.
Well, you've obviously had education. What's your educational level?
I have graduate studies in public health, specifically on vulnerable populations in the military combat veteran subset of that group.
Okay, so you're not a therapist, you're not a psychologist or anything like that.
No, ma'am.
So
are you a scholar?
And so no, that's not it. So Sugar has a degree, has a BA, right, in English. Molly is a registered Molly's an RN or an LPN? LPN or RN?
RN.
So Molly, that's a 4-year RN?
Yes, I also have a master's in nursing as well.
Oh fuck. Molly, I think here on the educational academic scale is at the top as far as this subject goes, definitely.
But not only that though, Brenda, you have to take into account, like with Michael and I, who have been dealing with this and working with this, with the PTSD and the therapy sessions and whatnot, where Sugar has fuck all, and he he comes outside with his fucking earthing pad and thinks he's got it all figured out, and tells us that he is cured of his anxiety attacks, but yet still carries his Klonopin around with him just in case.
So and Sugar, where do you work? Where do you do this stuff at?
Sugar's a bum for a living.
Sugar, are you there? I don't know what his name is. What is his name here?
Sugar.
Anyway, he looks like he's gone.
Fuckboy crime.
Okay.
It's like not too dissimilar, Brenda, to the kind of people who say that, whatever. I don't want to be. I really don't perceive this as being demeaning, but when it comes to transgender people, when people are just going to say that whatever dysphoria is like delusion or something, just because they want to say it.
I think that's very angrifying.
Angrifying.
Yeah, I made it up all by myself. Yeah.
Well,
I was going to make that same analogy, right? Like at what level I was just going to say, at what level, or like, what's the cutoff point for when you stop believing people that are experiencing these things? And if like experience, if they're like mental states, are what's causal to their pain, right? And this is something that can't be exported for empirical examination. You just have to take these people's words on it, right? We have no other option because of it not being empirically examinable. And to have somebody come in and just be like, well, look, we can just have you do these things and always expect positive outcome. Well, that's ridiculous, because we know that not to be the case for any intervention. If there is not a 1-to-1 correlation with any intervention with respect to mental health.
So, Michael, are you saying I should just take Christian's words for it because God isn't empirically examinable?
Oh my God.
Well,
he turned it around.
They're definitely experiencing something.
No, he came on this morning and he was just fucking off the chart. He was doing the races. So, give me an example of what you do in your therapy. And he's like, well, we're going to go back to your childhood trauma, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I said, this is how, because he said, give me an example of one of your sessions. And that's when I first said to him, I find that quite interesting because you never once asked him, did you feel this is something you can do? Are you in a state of mind to go back? No precursor questions whatsoever. He just fucking, let's go back to that traumatic molestation event in your life. And I asked him, I said, okay, Sugar, now you have him there. What are you going to do if he's locked in there? What are you doing?
You rape him to solve
and
his
he was like,
trauma of rape.
What do you mean? What do you mean? And I said, well, you have him there. What are you doing? He knew fuck all.
Yeah, I didn't find it helpful at all.
He's very sassy.
If I had to listen to him talk to me about anything traumatic, in that voice of his,
fucking headbutt him.
That would add
reflexively.
trauma.
I wouldn't be able to help it. I just fucking headbutt him.
Yep.
What did he say when you?
Cabinet.
When you were like saying, okay, this is going on, and he's like, go find your safe space.
He is possibly
like, what the fuck?
I mean, it's our fault for indulging him, right? I mean, the guy's just it's a real shame. I mean, obviously something's happened to him in his life that's caused him to hate Western medicine or whatever, you know what I mean? And the same thing, I don't know what's going on with the diet thing. I mean, I've never heard someone talk so much shit about the ketogenic diet. It's actually embarrassing. If the only credible out for him is if he's a PO. It's the only thing that I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that he doesn't actually work at a clinic. I'm hoping this is all a ruse. I'm hoping all the stuff with his girlfriend was all fake and we've all been played.
I think he's trolling us immensely.
Oh no, he's doing it for attention, right? But the worrying thing would be is if he actually is involved with people's health, right? Look, I'm not going to lose fucking sleep over it, but when he can't, yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, it doesn't warrant this much attention, but it's hard not to be drawn into it.
I'll go ahead and just do a total noob speculation. He said something earlier about his mom having died from cancer. I suppose that, like, if she had gone through some horrible chemo and all that stuff and then died anyway, I suppose that could have left like a bad taste in his mouth for Western medicine, obviously for emotional reasons rather than because Western medicine is bad. But that's just
I can appreciate that, and I could feel, and I could understand that, because watching someone die of cancer is almost as traumatic as it is for the person going through it. I get it, but to all of a sudden come in here and say, the things he says.
No, it's horseshit. Listen, my dad spent 5 years dying from colon cancer from the age I was 13 until I was 18. He died in hospice in our house. Like, we took care of him the entire time. That doesn't justify any of fucking Sugar's behaviors, nor would it in and of itself cause the panic disorder he thinks is so crippling. There is no justification whatsoever in the fact that his mom died like 10 or 11 years ago in a way that's very common in the world to explain any of his pathologies. He's just a fucking neurotic narcissist that's desperate for attention and will do anything to justify his fucking shitty behavior.
Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of us have gone through equally fucked up, if not more fucked up shit.
I mean, that experience, I mean, I'm sad I lost my dad, but that experience barely even ranks in the various things that have been traumatic to me. Partially because of time and just partially because it's not that unsettling. It's, the slow decline of a person due to health reasons. Anyone who's not a complete mental child knows that happens and knows it's going to happen to them in some form.
Well, it was like when he was listing off all the things that made him be, traumatized, and they weren't I mean,
they're.
But it was like Molly said the perfect thing. She was like, "Congratulations, you have a normal life," which is pretty much what I thought.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. You know, we've all let's
suffered
see, you know, how many I used to tell, you know, like it's quite funny because my husband had sort of like that childhood that it's like, really, you had that perfect happy childhood. And I say, you know, your childhood should be what every child has, but it's not the norm. Dysfunction junction is the norm for most children. The fact that a child can grow up with, you know, a happy, healthy life, both parents there. You know, he did lose his father when he was in his early 20s and whatnot. I said, but people like me, yeah, just you know, having people shit happen. That's the norm, and it's unfortunate, but it's just the fact of the matter. You know, we all have these fucking shit things that happen to us in our past, but then we have to decide: is that what's going to define us, or is it just going to be something that helps us to become a stronger person? And it's up to the individual.
Yep.
It's the thing that's most saddening is that he's like what 30. I thought he was like 20 something.
Yeah,
So
when he said 30, I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, that's not what he said before.
Well, it's not that. It's that if it's true, it's just like sad that
Pathetic.
at 30 you're like that, like childish or something. You know, it's like, come on. Fucking like absorbing earth energy from grass and stuff, and like, come on, like.
Never trust anyone over 30.
Absolutely not. I mean, JJ is just a proof for that.
Never trust anyone with a fucking earthing mat.
Just got that right.
Agreed.
My
I wanted to troll and
grandma
say
is
I had
kind
an
of
earthing
someone like
mat,
that.
but I just can't do it. I can't.
My grandma is someone that's
a
a
life
bit
choice,
like
Blair.
Sugar. She's like a very like into like spiritual stuff and like gobbledygook and like conspiracy theories and stuff, but you just don't take them too seriously. You're just like, yeah, reptilians exist. Spirits exist. That's
most people.
a thing like reptilians exist or something. Do you think?
It's quite a lot of people, I think, believe in this stuff. Yeah.
Young. You just
in
humor
some
your
conspiracy
grandmother?
theory, I agree. probably.
You're
Sorry,
saying
what?
you just humor your grandmother?
Yeah, you just humor. I mean, like you
Why?
can't. I mean, because she's an old lady, I'm not gonna tell her, "Well, you're a fucking dumbass" or something.
Yeah,
it's like
Well,
yeah,
you don't
it's
have to
like
call her a
trying
dumbass to
prove
show
your
her she's
grandma-
wrong.
No,
It's just trying to
you
argue
know,
with your grandparents about Christianity.
Yeah, you're trying to
Come
win
on.
one over on your elder grandparents. Good score. Reach for the stars. I promise before this old lady dies, I'm going to prove her wrong. What the hell?
She believes in the craziest shit. She like believes that like the Queen of England, like fucking Queen Elizabeth, fucking sacrifices children, like drinks their blood and shit. Stuff like
That's
Well, she
David
died,
Icke.
though. What are you
David
talking
Icke
about?
stuff. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, no, that's all true.
Yes, I
I'm
admit
kidding,
it.
I'm
But
kidding.
no, we are there. Yes, in order for us to be to remain in England, we do have to give forth our firstborn child to her, and we understand what's going to happen. It's just.
I mean, the reptilian stuff, that's all bullshit, but the child sacrifice stuff,
Oh god.
Fucking.
Go woke the conspiracy theorists. Nice.
I had one guy on Discord once explain to me, he had read like David Icke and stuff. I think it's David Icke. I think he's the guy. And he explained to me that the reptilian stuff is like kind of more abstract than it seems. That it's not about actual reptilians or like a species that's like lizard-like. It's like an interdimensional thing, like spirits or demons
it's about,
possessing people.
It's about Jews. It's about the Jews.
Oh yeah, often like leads into that. It's hilarious when like these things like intermingle, like it's conspiracy theories and like anti-Semitism and like stuff. It's like hilarious.
Man, fuck the Jews. It's about these muzzies now. Crazy.
Facts.
I'll take Muslims over Jews.
Little bastards.
Look, Muslims never invented nukes, alright?
Well, Jews didn't either. They just stole the technology from the U.S.
Oh, God.
Look, the West created the nukes just in case.
Let's talk about Israel.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Oppenheimer. Yeah, you're right. You're
Jewish.
Molly's being skeptical about Sammy.
Left.
He's quoting himself saying Russian rape porn is the best porn. And you know what immediately came to my mind? I hope that he's not the one that's helping to perpetuate this new porn thing Yuri has going on.
He probably is.
Oh, did we talk about? Was there any further discussion on what Yuri did yesterday, or is it a no-no or something? Can we, or was it
Left to
discussed?
their own devices, the worst thing that Muslims would have would be like tool wars. You know what I mean? Like you just have to stay out of sword reach and you'd be fine.
Yikes.
Well, I only say that because Yuri made in Takshat that he was very sad at the moment, and a couple of us asked why, and he said because he wasn't able to access his porn.
Oh my god! Did you see what Yuri did yesterday?
That can be a
Molly?
bummer.
Yuri,
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to ask about that, Young.
Oh yeah, I think
get
you
my
DM'd me. I
message?
forgot. Fuck, I forgot to answer you.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I really did any. I mean, I was trying to say that Sam was probably like contradicting himself slightly on something he was saying, and regarding his like intent in being like in a room on the Moralizing Mondays thing, he like did a Johnny B bad like clone account and like joined the room or something. Whatever, it was a different topic. So I like said to Sam that he was probably contradicting himself, and just Yuri just like went off on like
he did.
a
What was
tangent.
that about?
He just started saying you don't understand anything about Bill Grommy and
what about that whole?
Am I right, Pogan?
And that whole thing about wait till we get back in holy and have save it. As I was not able to get on voice, thankfully, because I was like, what? He completely lost his shit.
And then, but the crazier thing is that he was just calling me. I guess he was bothered that I like dared to like speak about any topic that approached philosophy, because he has, I guess, one thing that he gets from the Pal Talkers that I think he wildly misinterprets and like uses in a very bad way is that basically he has this view that if someone is like below you in capability or like an interest in a topic, they should just not talk about the topic or something, right?
Yeah.
That it's like an outrage.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That it's like an outrage, right? That someone who says that they're not interested, generally speaking, in a topic, that they say anything about the topic because it's bound to be wrong or something, right? So he was wrong. He was mad about me saying something that could be construed as like philosophical. I don't even think it was that philosophical, but whatever. And so I started like kind of responding and poking fun at him for something he said like 2 weeks ago, and then he completely lost his shit. Right?
He did. He did. He was asking you what was the first name of someone and
Mac.
Really
yeah,
odd shit. I mean, he just was fucking grasping.
And then it became like really bad because JJ said something about error theory, and I just gave my input as to what JJ's question is, and I think I was correct on that actually.
You were.
Then he just went completely insane, started over talking me, and I had to mute him because I couldn't talk, and he started DMing me for like probably 5 minutes straight, just a faggot, like faggot, 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 just like copy pasting
was this
faggot.
Yuri?
In my
Yeah,
in
it
my
was Yuri
DMs.
last night. No, I'm telling you, Ace. He fucking. It was like a light switch went off, and
That's
he
crazy.
just went. He went to Spurgville, and I said I was this. He did. I was sitting in because I was already in bed at the time, and I was like, what in the actual? Then he's like, yeah, you wait till we get into you wait till we get into holy, you wait till we get into Have Saving, yeah, and I'm like, wow, and at first, and then he got all quiet, and he was still pissed, and and how dare you do this? How dare you do that? And I was like, holy fuck.
I said this nearly a half a year ago. This is why you do not pedestalize retards.
He also said, "I'm gonna get Jack to throw you out of Haveset."
Yes, he did.
He was
It's like this is like
out of control.
This is what happens when you pedestalize someone. Is they get such a sense of entitlement.
What's funny about the throw you out of Havehaven thing is that Yuri is actually on probation. He doesn't have access to Havehaven text chat. He just has access to the voice chat, and he thinks he's in a position to get Young, who is not only a creator of Holy, but has been a member of that social group for probably a year, maybe 2 years. He thinks he's in a position to get Young thrown out of that community. It's just hilarious.
The best part is that Yuri is just losing his donkey shit, and Young is just like very calm, monotone, just like and I think that was inciting Yuri even more because he wasn't getting the responses from Young that he was expecting, and you could just see him fucking probably dancing around having a hissy fit. It was amazing.
Well, I've actually been quite enjoying Young spending time here. I think he adds quite a bit.
No,
yeah,
I
like having Young around. He's fun.
I did hope you saw in text. I said thank you for talking to me about Marxism last night.
We need more low energy soy boy cucks.
It would be nice, however, if people that disagree could be tolerated, but that doesn't seem possible right now.
Like Manny.
No, anybody
I think
that
Brenda's
disagrees.
talking about herself.
Yeah.
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 Well, the thing
Wait,
is,
are we
Brenda,
talking about the conversation between?
Hold on. Do you
we
not
go.
hear me talking?
I'm gonna explode.
The thing is, Brenda, that you are frequently intentionally disruptive to conversations because you have a grudge, right? And you can't seem to divorce yourself from that compulsion.
Yeah.
So why should people tolerate or be nice to you if you're not going to have
You gotta make everything about Brenda.
So, if people don't tolerate you, why should you tolerate them?
Why would you want to be in a discussion with people that you don't want to have a discussion
Exactly.
with?
That's why I left.
Brenda, you also don't tolerate a lot of people that do tolerate.
Sure, I do. I do fine. You don't know anything about what I do.
No,
I mean, I don't think.
I'm saying I know this as a fact that you're intolerable to people that tolerate you.
I have
That
no
seems
idea
like a
what you're talking
contradiction.
about. I have no idea what you're talking
She's
about.
intolerable.
Yeah, it's a paradox.
No, Claire has a clear animus towards me, right, Claire?
No.
Yes.
You're just fun to pick on.
Whoa.
Yeah, fun to pick on. Well, yeah, you attack me consistently.
Yeah, and you freak out, and that's funny. So I do it
Yeah.
over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, you guys do that when we're trying.
Yeah.
Like last night, we
So
were
then you
actually
can't blame
having a
me.
discussion.
So you can't
I
blame
was
me
being
for
nice
that.
to
You
her.
can't blame me for that.
I can blame
But-
you for ruining a
no,
perfectly
I
calm
can't.
conversation.
Yeah, we can definitely blame you for that.
Coming
That's exactly what you did last night.
Coming into the
Yeah.
room when two
Yeah,
people
unlike
were
you,
having a
Brenda.
very measured dialogue about Marxism and fucking exploding like a lunatic.
I can
That's
be
blameworthy.
rude
Why
to
should I
people
care, Pogan?
for fun, but then I
Well-
can stop for the sake of a conversation. That's what you need to learn how to do.
Yeah, why?
It's
Why
fine
should
to,
I?
It's fine to
Why
dislike
should?
people.
I
Why
mean, there's
should I
Not
nothing.
respect-
fine to be completely antithetical to actual discourse when it's
So
happening, especially
why
when it's not
should-
your discourse. Especially when
why
you're just
should
hopping
I?
into someone else's conversation,
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you.
uninvited, and disrupting it.
I'll give
Yeah.
you two
Why
reasons.
should I respect your discourse?
I'll give you
when
two
you
reasons.
don't return
I'll
the
give you two
favor,
reasons.
right?
I'll give you two reasons. The first reason is that, as Jack has said, maybe 5 or 6 times by now, you don't know anything about the fucking topic. The second reason is you didn't improve the dialogue in any way, and you allowed people to basically start yelling over each other, and you ruined a perfectly calm conversation, which had you listened to, stop over talking me. Had you listened to the conversation and simply waited to ask a question in a respectful way, you probably would have learned something. Instead, you chose to be obnoxious because you felt like moralizing.
What would I have
Well,
learned?
for starters, you would have learned that it doesn't mean murder when we kill people who directly oppose a workers' revolution, because murder is defined as an unjustified killing. And you also would have learned that
that would be unjustified.
my neighbor who happens to be rich but is still construed to be part of the working class is not necessarily an enemy of the revolution. Right? You would have learned those two very crucial things.
Yeah, but that
which
line
you chose
gets
not
blurred
to.
so quickly.
Well,
the one I was there
for. Yeah, it's a blurry line. It's a blurry line.
Do I get to respond to that? I mean,
I'd prefer if you didn't.
You go on and on about
For
things.
sure, Brenda. Just respond.
Number one, no, shut up. Number one, murder is not unjustified killing. That's not what it is.
So if I Google murder right now,
conversation.
It's unlawful.
I mean, she is right in a sense.
It's unlawful killing, you fucking morons.
But it's true. That's true.
So wait a minute. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to verbally abuse and yell at you and call you names because I want to. Because you treat me that way.
Why did they treat me like crap?
Fucking clown.
Wait, but now you're just saying.
So you're a fucking clown. So this is how you treat other people, Pogan. You're a fucking moron. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Look,
you talk about murder as unjustified killing. It's not unjustified. I was talking.
Look, just wait till she's done, and then you start
talking me. So shut up. Murder is unlawful killing. That's what it fucking is, you fucking moron.
Are you done?
So when you say under the revolution, murder, it's not murder when we kill people in the state because it's justified, because we have a justification for it. That's a fucking lie. It is murder because it's
committing.
Can I give
Hogan? I'm fucking talking.
So you're committing.
I'm gonna mute you, Pogan, if you don't let her finish.
This is fucking insane. You guys are.
Too fucking bad.
If you don't like it, you can leave.
This is what it's like. This is what it's like with you, Pogan. Murder is unlawful, premeditated killing, right?
Shut up.
Under any legal system, if you initiate a revolution, you are committing murder. By definition, because it's against the state. You can feel, I could feel, for instance, and I would say so, that the revolutionaries in the American Revolution were justified in their action against the King George because they felt it was unjust. It was a just thing for do. I would support them, but what they did was wrong. What they did was treason. When they killed English soldiers, it was murder.
Yeah, you're just committing to the view that there's a fact of the matter as to what words mean, and you're appealing to the dictionary to justify that view.
That's not true.
Wait, so why are you now interrupting me? I'm confused. You're trying to say that the only definition of murder that could be employed is one that is a legal definition, when people all the time refer to, say, the actions of the U.S. military in the Middle East, which are totally protected under U.S. law, right, as being murder. There's clearly different uses of the term that don't strictly refer to a legal context. And you're saying if anyone uses murder in a way that doesn't refer to United States law or the law of whatever jurisdiction is in question, they're using the word incorrectly, which is not only ridiculous, it's also a wrong view to have in virtue of the interpretation argument, right? So you rambling incoherently for the last 5 minutes and yelling for no particular reason because you think it makes your point more substantive is just a waste of everyone's time. It's still not an objection to anything I said.
Yeah, there is a fact of the matter about what.
What's the argument?
There is a fact of the matter about what the speed limit is.
That's not
55.
That's not what I'm asking you.
Excuse me, I'm fucking talking. There is a fact of the matter. There is a fact of the matter about the speed limit, right? But there's no abstract fact at large about what the speed limit, and it's set by law. It's a legal fact that the speed limit is 55 on certain roads, right? So it's a fact of the matter that murder is unlawful killing.
I mean, Brenda's not saying anything controversial. I think she's basically right. But
yeah, and then I just get accused of rambling incoherently, and this is fucking bullshit.
But Brenda,
and
can I ask you one
then
question?
People get upset with me for getting upset at this total nonsense.
Brenda, can I ask you one question? Just
yeah,
maybe you'll consider it. But the point is that if you take murder to just merely be like some legal term, right, which is fine. I mean, people can use it in different ways, but if one takes the, I guess, consensus view on legality or whatever, right, then you'd agree that if a socialist state is like put in place or something, that further repression of that socialist state, repression from the socialist state of, for instance, capitalists and other quote-unquote class enemies, right? That's historically then been justified, given that it was legal.
Yeah,
under
it was
those.
legal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
but I think that I think it's still wrong, but I think that, for instance, again, the revolutionaries, the American revolutionaries, committed treason. They committed acts of treason and acts of murder for which, if we had lost, they would have been tried and most likely hung for their crimes. But they didn't. They won, and so they established a new political regime in which their actions, which were lauded instead of condemned. And that would be the case in any other in the case of any revolution. But my whole point in calling it out as murder is own it. Know what you're doing. Know what you're doing.
That's I mean that seems like completely that seems completely like reasonable.
Right.
The point,
if you're gonna get in a revolution, own it. Own what you're gonna do.
But Brenda, I think what some people would want you to consider, I guess, is that just merely pointing out that it's murder in virtue of legality, right, is like not going to be like very relevant to anyone, or like anyone who's engaged in a revolution will not really care. Like the point is that they see the law as being in itself unjustified morally or something. Probably.
Well, sure.
Right.
But the other point that I was making the other night that I want to make again is simply that sitting around as like a keyboard warrior talking tough about things is one thing, and then facing the reality. And so that was my desire. I wasn't even moralizing. I wanted people to realize, I mean, I wasn't saying it was immoral. I was saying that calling people that if you're going to sit around and talk about revolution, then you have to realize what it is you're actually talking about, the very reality of it. And that reality is that you are going to take your hand against somebody else and you are going to kill them.
No, like, I agree completely that, of course, there's like a very big difference between just merely theorizing about a thing or giving some historical account of a revolution and just like extrapolating what it could be in the future based on past events and actually doing it or participating in it. But, you know, the thing that I was kind of objecting to yesterday is that it just seems like you have this view for some reason that everyone who's on Discord and who's a Marxist like kind of doesn't realize this difference or something, that like they're all like deluded about it, and that they think that just talking about it constitutes like actual political activity.
I think the vast number one, I have a grudge. I'll admit that. I have a grudge. So I'm not inclined to be generous. And number two, I do think that most of the people on Discord who talk about communism are what can I think of? Latte sipping coffee shop communists. You know, that's what they are.
Like champagne socialists, you mean, or something like that?
Whatever. I don't know the current
for
that.
Whatever. Yeah. It's just that, I guess, I mean, like the ones I know, at least when pushed, they'll like readily, like, I know this is a touchy subject for you, but to like give you resolve if you need it or something. Like someone even like Jack or anyone who's in that group like will tell you that they're very conflicted as to whether or not they would even be able to carry out any like violence that was present in past revolutions. And I mean, if Jack was here right now and if I told him, look, you're just fucking talking and theorizing about shit that you're not actually participating in any meaningful sense politically, I don't think he's going to have a retort to that or
I mean,
like
if
pose opposition. Right?
Yeah,
like,
if you're a Discord communist and you really think that there's a revolution coming, you should be getting in shape and you should be shooting your guns and getting good at your guns. You should be in a group where there's
I totally agree.
a
I mean,
leader, where there's a leader who issues orders. That's what you
if
should
you're
be doing.
planning, if you're planning to partake in the revolution, then sure, probably. I just don't think that anyone that I know on Discord is like.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a few people
think
that I know that
they think somebody else is going to do it.
no, yeah, well, I know a few people who I think would be who actually participate at least in.
But most of them think,
politics.
well, it's going to happen. Somebody else is going to be doing all this. Somebody else is going to be carrying the rifle and shooting it. Somebody else is going to be throwing grenades and things like that. I can sit here and just philosophize and fantasize. And that's the kind of bullshit that I object to because it's just nonsense. I mean, it doesn't get anywhere. It just prevents action more than anything.
Well,
If
I
you
don't know. I
actually
think
believe in this shit, you should go and act.
I think theorizing, not by the point is that obviously, like you can't be under the delusion that just by theorizing, you're like becoming a great theorist or something or someone that's actually going to ever do shit regarding the cause. But I mean, I don't think theorizing is like useless. I mean, like I imagine, at least I mean, it could be wrong empirically about this that people like Lenin, right? Not Trotsky, but people like Lenin, for instance, right? We're not especially like active on the actual warfare side of things, right?
I suppose, but not everybody can be a Lenin. There's only one of those. Most people are going to be foot soldiers.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But the point is that I mean, as long as people are honest with themselves and saying that they either just theorize all day or they seriously engage with the theory while also being politically active, as long as they're aware that there is this distinction, right? It doesn't seem like there's anything really bad or objectionable about like you about talking about or studying these things just for interest or something, just having an interest in it or trying to understand or having a belief or formulating arguments or stuff like that. Doesn't seem wrong to me.
What I found interesting is like especially for example who I've never had any issue problems with and whatnot, and then to all of a sudden go on this rampage when I'm in the room, my husband's a bastard, he deserves to die, he'll be the first to be killed. And then like Manny, who I've had a couple of discussions with that really didn't know, and went into a room, and his first question to me was, oh, are you the one who has the bastard husband? And
yeah, but Manny,
I just found, but the thing is, and when Squishy first started, on that thing, I actually, the first day, she said, yes, Molly, and I know your husband's a piece of shit cop and whatnot. And I didn't say anything for the, longest time. I was like, well, this is a futile argument to have with her. What I found quite interesting is that she thought that this was acceptable. So when this thing with her pronoun coming up, and I referred to her as she, and she's calling me a cunt and stuff, and I said, well, I thought, this is based on respecting other people, because I do respect other people, but yet, what makes you think that I'm going to sit here and allow you to, not allow, but listen to you say all these things about my husband and whatnot, and then when you ask that I show you some respect and stuff by, referring to your preferred pronoun, which I've never had issue with, that you expect me to give you this when, and it went, I think it just fucking went over her head. It's like there's a lot, and like I said, I've never been one to. I will call you what you wish to call me, but I was just trying to make a point to her and that saying, look, you don't come in here and spend all this time talking about what a piece of shit my husband. You wish he was killed. You wish he died. And then, oh, by the way, could you respect something of me? Well, no.
I mean, I agree with. I mean, I agree with that. I just don't. One thing that I can give input on, and it's probably gonna make the matter worse, but with Manny, he's just someone that likes to be an asshole. I mean, he'll say anything. Really. It has nothing to do with his views, I don't think. I mean, he is also a Marxist as of pretty recent, but he'll just say just about anything just to piss people off, right? I mean, he's like, despite him being like very socially progressive or something, he'll just like be a bigot just to like make people mad and stuff. I don't think you need to take it as his Marxism informing that he's just like a kid who likes to insult people, right? For fun, for entertainment. But I also do agree with you that although although I do think that Squishy probably like at one point generally held the belief about police being like wholly like how can I say, discardable or something. I don't know if that's a word, but that they are to be discarded.
Disposable.
Yeah, disposable, exactly, disposable. Although I do think she actually held that belief at one point or another. I don't necessarily think that that's like that kind of thing that she told you was motivated by a genuine like wish to report a Marxist view or like a communist view. I think again it was more so just like an entertainment thing,
I wouldn't be
just
so
being
sure of that.
just
It was
being
pretty pissed that
abrasive for
day.
this.
What I found interesting though, because we've had discussions about police officers, and I've made it clear. I said, look, my husband and I will both admit there's shitty people out there, and some of them are police officers, and that's Tim and I have both like fucking how the hell did they obtain this position? And I say to him, there's doctors that I've worked with where I'm thinking, how in the fuck? It's in every life. You're not going to get away with it. But then just to do a blanket all, and that includes your husband, who I don't know about, and then oh well, she's a cunt because she has to be because of a husband, and I was like, when did we start doing this, Squishy?
But I just want to make it clear to you that I think the majority, especially of Marxists, who would hear something like that would probably just like like talk shit about what she did more so than your husband or anything. Although Marxists hold you with the belief that like police officers are class enemies or something. It's just
which is amazing to me that you say you call class enemies and whatnot, and that they're bourgeoisie, and I'm like, what do you mean? He's working class. I see these are things that do not make sense to me.
No, I understand, but that's a matter of the actual.
State.
That's a matter of like arguments on Marxism. That's like a thing about views. But what I was trying to say is that even if like you have this antagonistic attitude to police officers in a revolution, it's just stupid, right? To like promote behavior that is like needlessly antagonistic and makes you look like just like bitter or something, saying "oh, kill everyone" or something. It's just dumb, Like no one that's like serious about the matter in any sense would like ever promote anything like that. Just calling someone like a cunt or a piece of shit just because they're like married to a police officer or something. It's just stupid. That's why I was saying that it's probably just lashing out and like being abrasive for the sake of being abrasive more so than proposing an actual argument.
I just found it quite interesting that and I get it, and like, look, and also comments made about being in the military. I've dealt with it my entire life before I even joined the military and whatnot. I'm used to those sort of things, and it's just sort of like, It's just human nature for myself. It's your family, and of course, when somebody has a go at your spouse or children, you're absolutely going to perk up and say, "Oh, wait the fuck a minute." That's just how it is.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably do this one.
I mean, because my thought was, wait, he's not even a member of this Discord. He's someone that I've mentioned in passing, and yet now he's a moving target. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's exactly what leads me to believe that it's just a way to get at you and to like be abrasive to you, I guess.
Wow.
Or
it doesn't make her to make those comments, make her communist or Marxist views any more appealing, unfortunately.
exactly. That's why it's dumb. That's why I said it's fucking stupid to say something like that. Like, even if it was true that you had to like eliminate the police class wholesale, which I don't think is true at all, even on Marxist theory. Even if it was true, like, you just don't say that kind of shit just because, it's just stupid,
Well, that's why I think it should be said, because that's what you're going to have to do.
No, I don't think
you're going to have to. You're going to have to. In a Marxist revolution, you're going to have to go after the structures of law enforcement and the military.
Yeah, but not in the way that Squishy is portraying. Like, I don't know if maybe you missed this, but when this argument was first developing at the time, Brenda, like the view is that basically the view was that the whole police class and the military class should just be liquidated and just like wholly exterminated.
Yeah, like right. That's going to happen. That's just not. That's just
that
delusional.
Happen
that's delusional. That can't happen. How can that possibly happen?
I agree with Brenda. Where are these pussy Marxists going to pick up guns?
Well, it's not even if they're not pussies, even if they are hardened and militaristic and they're well trained. The U.S. military is the largest military in human history, exactly, most advanced. You're going to get nowhere. You're going to get slaughtered.
View. Exactly, it's a garbage view as far as I can see. That's why I objected to it. I obviously don't negate. I don't think it's like logically impossible or something that no one is hurt, but plausibly it's obviously not going to be the case that a revolution leaves no like victims on the class enemy quote unquote side, right? That's silly, but it's also silly to just say that like that it needs to be the case, that it's even desirable to liquidate a whole class. It's just so stupid.
It's converting by force. And when I backed, I said, well, so I'm not a Marxist or communist, so we're left with what? Convert or die? Well, hell.
So the people that actually have a shot are the fascists, not the Marxists. I mean, because they've infiltrated military and police forces and the government, right? And they've done that simply by propaganda and basically convincing them, finding people who agree sort of with them, and then gradually working with them over decades and decades to convince them of their view.
I do agree that fascism has probably like a more pervasive force in the military class and probably the police. The police, but so it also needs to be said that I think that it's pretty evidently the case that socialist revolutions have like some success in converting, especially the military class, to their cause.
How do they do that? How have they done that in the past? I mean, it seems like a heavy lift to convince the military to do that. They have to have some other kind of reason. They have to have an external reason for doing it.
No, I think one of the reasons is that much of the military class, meaning like low-ranking people or simple soldiers, are generally in line with proletarian interests, because I do think they're working class, right? So I think those are the easier people to convince, and that's, I think, the success that socialist revolutions have had. With the police, it's different. I'm not educated on the police, but I would guess that the police, it's like much harder to like convert them to like a socialist revolution.
Well, then that's what they should be working on, and I don't know that they've gotten. I don't know, but I don't think that there's been much. I might be wrong.
No, the point is that I guess it's like conceptually more difficult, right? Because the point is that it's like kind of a priori in a sense. Like the point is that the police, policemen and so on are just like much more bound, right, to like protecting the state apparatus of the society that they live under than whatever simple soldier that is just like employed maybe by a military or.
So I'll say one thing. I'll say one thing is the reason that I went off on Pogan the other day is because I have a grudge. I have scores to settle. I'm pissed off, and I'm looking for that because I'm upset with them, and because of history, and so I don't really care anymore. And appeals to me to observe social norms are not going to work. They're not going to work because what I want, what I'm doing, what I tell myself actually every day is it's tit for tat. You treat me nice, I'll treat you nice. You treat me bad, and you'll get both barrels blazing. And I can treat people who are very rude to me far ruder than the people here have been. And I deal with them in other places, and I can treat them nicely if we can agree to talk. But the people here don't extend that courtesy, and so they don't get that courtesy back. And that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be that way. It's going to be that way.
I've been exceptionally nice to you.
As you've noticed, I haven't.
She's not talking about everybody.
When you're not calling out faggot.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with this, and I should just not do this anyway. I should be doing something else.
Probably, I agree. I should as well.
What, talking
Anyways,
to
I
other
don't
people?
think, as demonstrated,
Wasting
I don't
my
think
time
it's very hard to have
with discussions.
I don't think it's very.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good conversation. Unlike what we just had is like maybe not very fruitful, but like at least a civil exchange. Right?
I can do that.
Right, I'm sometimes mean to Brenda when I feel that she's being.
You are.
Yeah, being obnoxious, right? But
but I'm being
the point
obnoxious
is that I don't
deliberately.
have a problem. I don't have. Yeah, I know, but I don't have a problem with setting that aside. I think it's just useless. You can talk about these issues very like normally, as we just did.
Well, it's in my experience, I can't.
I understand.
I can't talk about issues normally. Because then it just gets into a big fucking deal. People lose their shit.
Yeah, it seemed like Jack was emotionally motivated by some of the conversations we've had this week. You could tell.
No, of course. I mean, with Jack, I don't think it's very repairable. Like it seems like.
Well, what pissed me off was that I knew that Yuri potentially contacted Jack to bring him in to either make a bad situation worse, and that he sends me DMs. She's getting what she deserves because of past history, so it just became this bullshit. We weren't even discussing what we were discussing. Yeah, and that's what pissed me off when I was like, stop. If we want to have a discussion about what's going on between you guys and that, then fine. But don't, fucking use opportunity of, oh, she's in there, let's go, is bullshit.
Yeah, that practice is cancer. I think it's like funny when it's someone that's like, it'll create really good content that no one ever saw, but like Brenda versus Jack has been seen like how many fucking times, and it like always goes down the same way. I don't just that anymore. Like once, this becomes.
And it's actually really funny because I've actually tried to cordially start discussions with Jack, and he just absolutely refuses to have them with you. But he'll get into screaming emotional matches with Brenda for some reason, even though he knows that supposedly Brenda doesn't know anything.
Well, there's a.
Well, I do think there's a difference.
I think that's expression of hurt.
I think It probably is the case that with the difference between Jack and Ace, Brenda and Ace, is that I think Jack perceives Brenda as someone who's like misguided and who he in some way, right, once through the method of like humiliation, like kind of set on the right path in a sense. Like I don't think he thinks that Brenda's like a bad person. Well, I do think that Jack thinks that Ace is a bad person.
Yeah.
Like,
so the right path.
That's just so strange that Jack would think I'm some kind of like terrible person that's like irredeemable.
Well, I think he perceives you as a bigot, basically, and he doesn't.
Well, basically, that's
that's pretty much
true.
But I think everyone's a bigot. Some just suppress it more
we're
than others.
Like if Brenda was being like if people were like demeaning Brenda because she was trans or something, and Jack were in the room, I think he'd defend her, right? Like pretty readily, on any of those issues that about like bigotry against her. Whereas since Jack perceives you, Ace, as someone who would be the aggressor in these cases, I don't think he likes you or wants to engage with you because of
I don't know. It just seems like a double standard, and I think that Jack just sees Brenda as an easy target. I think that he'd have much more difficulty.
He's upset that I don't actually study, and I should be reading original sources, which I agree. I should be doing that, but I don't think that that's going to change my view much.
Ace, what's the double standard that you're referring to?
Shit.
I mean, I guess double standard isn't the right way to put it. I like I said, I just think that Jack probably sees Brenda as like an easy target for humiliation.
I think there's a little bit of projection going on there.
I think Brenda actually described correctly.
Yeah, I don't think it's because he sees me as an easy target. I think it's because, well, I don't know. I have to guess.
No, I
like
think
I
so,
said,
'cause
I think it's disappointment or disillusionment, and the fact that he would probably think that if I actually tried, which I haven't done, I could do much better than I'm doing, and that infuriates him.
Well, let me.
Yeah, he would like you to know fuck all about the topic. Actually,
what I mean by an easy target is that I think that you just have the kind of personality that allows this kind of easy humiliation, where you blow up really easy and that kind of stuff, and that makes you an easy target.
I didn't blow up last night. I wasn't the one yelling at the top. I wasn't the one yelling.
You did
and and that's just water off my back.
Yeah, but it's all. I mean, I think that Brenda does, especially. I don't know. There has from one point on, she started really getting more sensitive about this stuff. But there was, I mean, like these Jack Brenda discussions about socialism have been going on for years, as far as I'm aware now, right? And it wasn't always the case. Like, I mean, at the beginning, it was the case that Brenda was in the same community and rooms and would hang out with Jack all the time. Right?
Well, this goes back to G Plus at least.
Yeah, G Plus, then Debate Coliseum on Discord, whatever.
Well,
right?
I think I am.
And that's also related to why I said that it was so boring, Young, is because I've just been hearing this for that. Sorry.
I'm a social democrat. I'm very socialistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, the point is that what I was trying
to JJ, that was a really shitty.
What I was trying to say, yeah, the way you did that, JJ, was really like weird. It like made I thought you were drinking or something, or that you were under the influence or something. It was weird.
It probably was.
But see, the thing that pissed me off is that it's boring, and I've sat through Star Wars and Star Trek and anime bullshit, and I was like, really? The one time that I'm actually like, okay, explain Marxism to me. I apologize if it's boring the fuck.
Right.
You come like a banshee, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I realized that later. I don't know if you were here when I apologized for yelling.
Nah. Oh, thank you.
But Star Wars.
But yeah, Brenda, to call me an easy target of all people. I mean, there's been quite a few times where I've caught Jack in things that he was completely ignorant about.
You still think clocks don't measure time?
Look.
Look, do you know why I even argued that point?
Because
whoever brought up the clocks
because
thing
you're a
needs to be
contrarian.
Well, okay, so right, yeah, it's partially because I'm a contrarian, but
He's not just a contrarian, but he can actually
how about
kiss.
like Wait, Brenda, how about like dialetheism and paraconsistent logic? So I think what happened between Jack and I is that I humiliated him on paraconsistent logic and dialetheism because he completely misunderstood the topic and he hasn't spoken to me since. So, you know.
Well, I
just
don't
saying.
recall that conversation.
I don't think
Ace,
you were here for that.
It's cringe what you do. You understand that, Ace? It's like you always do this, and it's really like.
No. I'm just saying. No. I'm just
Ace,
saying.
when was this?
Brenda accused me of projecting on being an easy target, and no, I'm not. I'm just explaining to her that no, I'm not projecting at all.
I'm just saying that you have this fixation to say that the reason that why Jack doesn't talk to you is because you humiliated him. The same thing Vade does. The same thing.
Well, no. Well, I'm just saying.
You know, a bunch of people do that thing, and it's kind of petty.
Well, it's not a
cringe.
fix. Well, look, it's not a fixation. I'm just saying that it coincided with that last discussion I had with Jack, because Jack
Which was when, Ace?
I'm just saying, Ace.
Speaking terms with me, and then all of a sudden I show him that he actually doesn't know what he's talking about dialetheism, and then all of a sudden he stops talking to me.
Ace, all I'm saying is, Ace, all I'm saying is the point that it comes off as kind of petty because it's it's not really a good point.
I don't deny that.
It's not a good point. It's not a good point for like position for you to have to like coerce people into thinking or to, like convince them that you wrecked Jack, right? If you did, people would probably.
I don't need to convince anybody. I mean, it was.
Then why bring it up all the time?
Jack was Jack was claiming that paraconsistent logic is the position that true contradictions exist, and he was claiming
Dude, we don't care. We're not.
And Jack was claiming that I was incorrect to describe paraconsistent logic as logics where implication is non-explosive. He actually called me a retard. He called me a dumbass and a retard for holding to that position. And then JHC, wait, what? I'm almost done.
Why don't you just be done?
Come on, Gus.
Stop.
So wait,
Stop,
look,
Gus.
So you can ask.
You know what, JJ?
So
I'm starting to get a little bit tired of your first response to people being yelling. I'm starting to get a little bit fed up with it. Now, I don't know what's up your ass. I don't know what your problem is. But I'm starting to get fed up with the first thing you say out of your mouth, and you're a little bit unhappy, is to start yelling at me.
Holy shit. So
you're not the only person in here who can yell, so I suggest you keep it to yourself. Maybe walk away, take a deep breath.
Goddamn.
The last thing I need is that you screaming anytime you want. Ace, nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Shut up.
Look.
Nobody wants to hear it, Ace. How many times do you have to be told nobody wants to hear it before you don't hear it?
Come on.
Look, I'm explaining.
Nobody wants to hear it though, Anti-Flavor. Nobody wants to hear it.
I had with Jack. Just
how many people are going to have to tell you that they don't want to hear you go on and on before you take the hint that you don't want to, that you shouldn't be going on and on?
I would have been done by now.
No.
Yeah,
this whole thing, I could have been done by now. That's speculative fiction, okay? That's speculative fiction.
I'm just wondering.
Nobody knows how long it would take you to say anything.
So
do you understand, Ace? No, Ace. This isn't your cue just to wait for his silence to keep talking.
So,
Ace, for Christ's sake, this is why people mute you.
You can confer with both. You can confer with JHC.
This is the problem, man. Nobody takes it, and then if you mute him, because that's all he lets you do.
Can someone just mute Gus? Hello, I've been asking.
Because that's all he lets you do.
Mute Gus. I've been trying to have this discussion.
And if you don't mute him to shut him up, he won't take a hit from the rest of the room.
Look, okay, Gus, you're just
this
going
is the problem.
1%.
And you walk yourself into your own problems, man.
So anyway,
Ace is doing Pogan things. Do not do Pogan things.
Don't do that.
Look, I would just like to finish this discussion.
But the thing is, Aces, you have said this multiple times. Every time Gus has been, every time Jack has been brought up, you tell us the same story. We give two shits.
Okay, well, let me just finish. Because the only thing I
if we've already heard you, why should we let you finish?
The JHC.
You don't seem to understand. We've already heard you. That's why we don't want you to finish.
I'm pretty sure _Joe
this
can back me up.
This is how he behaves. This is what he does.
Did you get that, Young?
Doesn't matter.
No,
we don't care. He
What's
doesn't
up, Young?
care.
Just DM me, Ace. Just DM me.
Yeah, please. No one wants to hear it. Garbage.
What'd you say, Young? I didn't hear what you said.
Can you DM me at this point?
Okay, I guess.
Or
So
whatever.
since, I guess, is it just because Gus is having like a
No, it's
cataleptic
because we've
fit?
heard this story 100 times and we don't care. We don't
Wait,
care
how
about
is
you
this
saying
how
you.
is this a theory? This is a fact.
How yeah.
I'm just explaining to you guys. You can go and ask
You've
JHC.
explained it 100 times. Every
you can
time
go and
Jack
ask
is brought up,
JHC,
you
and
say
JHC will
this.
tell you
Molly, don't fall in the
exactly
hole.
what I said.
Don't now he's using your minor misspeak as an excuse to go back through it again like Darth Dawkins would.
Yeah, I'm just saying that JHC will back
Don't
me up
just
on this.
say
He was there
anything.
for
People
that
are done with you
discussion.
moving your face around.
And Jack
You
likes
see,
to
he doesn't
pretend
get it,
that
and he
knows
pushes
he
people
knows
and
stuff
pushes
that
people.
he
All
doesn't
right,
actually
well,
know.
let's just end this. Hold on a sec. What you got? You have how much time do you need to say what you're gonna say, Ace?
I mean, I would have only taken me about a minute.
Okay, you have 1 minute.
But,
Go.
I mean, this
Hurry,
is, like,
quick. Start now.
At this point,
you are using your minute starting now.
Dragging out.
But at this point, I'm probably going to need a recap. I don't remember what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. I'll just explain. So look, I'll explain.
Listen to me. You have 1 minute starting now.
Yeah, I heard that. So yeah, the discussion was about dialetheism and paraconsistent logic. Jack believed that I was wrong in describing paraconsistent logic as a logic in which implication is non-explosive, and he was saying that no, paraconsistency is the position that true contradictions exist. And I was also giving an operational semantics of paraconsistent logic, which Jack completely didn't understand. Anyway, the thing is that during this discussion, JHC came in and JHC explained to Jack that he was completely wrong and that I was completely right, and I was humiliated. It was humiliating, just completely humiliating. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right, cool. So now all the people who said that they didn't want to hear it, he is now done with what he had to say. So if you now continue to talk to him about that, I will have no sympathy for you, right? So now is your opportunity to move on to something else. Do you understand?
Yes, do let's.
I didn't catch when that discussion happened, Ace.
That was a few months ago.
JJ's a faggot. Couple to be hung.
A couple months
ago. So now if you continue, JJ,
like 5 months ago.
Now if you want to talk to him about this, JJ, I'll just move you and him to another room.
I just wanted to know when it happened.
Oh, thank God.
Like I asked and answered.
JHC hasn't been around for like a year.
Okay.
Mikolash, come on, man.
I mean, maybe like eight months ago. I mean, it was like over a half a year ago.
He hasn't been gone that long. He used to be I think maybe 8 months.
It's been
He's still been around, by the way. He just won't be in like the live chat or.
It hasn't been even 8 months. It's been like less than that.
Yeah, it was right around when he was last here.
Godless server.
Yuri, I would appreciate an apology.
No, yeah, I think so too. I wanted to do it in text, and I realized that it wasn't probably proper for me to apologize.
Okay, hold on a sec. Yuri, the floor is yours.
Yeah, hold on. Let me switch to my phone, and then I'll give the apology.
I remember being for that discussion that Ace is talking about, and he's talking about Josh. Josh was agreeing with Ace, but then Josh talked to Jack about it, and Jack got him to agree.
Mikolash, don't, darling.
Wait, you want to talk about it now?
Discussion.
Yeah,
that sounds like a different discussion, though.
Josh was there for the discussion. Okay, so what did
Jack
say to Josh?
No. Look, I thought we all agreed that we didn't want to talk about this, right?
Why, guys? Why are you doing this?
No, I think Mikolash is just talking out of his ass.
So if you want to talk about it, you and Mikolash can drop down and talk about it.
Yeah,
no one else
Mikolash, you wanna talk about that?
Nope.
Okay. So now that you guys have both agreed that you don't want to talk about it, I expect it to not be brought up again.
I'm interested in talking about it. No, I'm interested in talking about it.
Okay, well, when you find an interlocutor who wants to talk with you about it, you can go to the room below and talk about it.
Run away, Mikolash, run away.
Yeah, Mikolash, just ignore that. That's just him trying to get in.
All right. So, anyways, Yuri, you have the floor.
Yeah. Young, I'm sorry for my behavior.
yesterday I got too emotional regarding these philosophical concepts. I didn't like that you were challenging me. I like to be challenged, but I didn't like that I was being challenged on like a particular I thought was minor issue in propositional logic, and then was muted. And then I felt like you were strawmanning what I was saying or giving a bad answer to JJ, and I think I overreacted to that by a great degree. And I should never have approached you that way.
I accept that. Don't worry, Meter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just it was my fault, and I think I took it too seriously, and I take these conversations too seriously. And
Well,
because of
also maybe in another place, I can actually try to explain to you what I was meaning with regard to what JJ was saying, because I actually think I was basically correct in that. So if maybe you misunderstood what I was trying to say, so maybe somewhere else, some other time, I can try to explain to you and see if we're on the same page.
Yeah, we can talk about the Nave saving. We can even get Jack to listen to what we're talking about to make sure.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Yeah, I'm also sorry about like spamming your DMs like that as well.
Oh, don't worry.
All right, there we go.
And that was case closed right there. That was a good apology and a good way to.
Adults.
Yeah, so Yuri, I guess we'll have to discuss this because you seem to be confused about the topic.
You weren't even there.
I messaged Josh, so I'll see what Josh has to say about this topic then.
What topic? The propositional logic thing?
No, dialetheism and paraconsistent
Oh.
logic.
Don't.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because I mean, Jack was 100% wrong.
Wait, wait, hold on a second. Why are we? Why is this being talked
guys?
about
What are we
again?
talking about?
It's amazing. It's like, what?
Look, I let you have 1 minute uninterrupted to say everything you wanted to say. Nobody else wants to talk about it here with you.
Except the text chat.
Well, then address it in text.
Keep it to text chat then.
Oh yeah, there's some new guy talking about pedophilia in the text chat. Let's bring it in the voice.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Can you people not fucking behave yourselves for 10 minutes?
Oh no, I was just bringing an example, Gus. I wasn't saying that was. Please don't take that seriously. I was just bringing an example to what Ace was talking about.
Hey, little black peanut.
Yeah,
Godless says
I
Gus
don't
is
trust your
irritating. She should
ability
fucking talk.
I don't trust your ability to even distinguish between your asshole and your mouth. So.
So racist, Gus.
Stop it.
Who did he say that about? You said about Yuri? Oh, poor Yuri. Oh.
Why did you do that? Fucking stop.
Jesus. Do you like that quote, JJ?
It's very wise, Tom.
It's very sage.
Yeah, it's
I think it kills the rhino if you just chop the horn.
Shut up, Helena! Stop ruining everything. Stop it.
Poetry is not meant to
Doesn't
be
kill
taken
the rhino.
literally.
Shut up.
It was poetry.
They tried it.
Wait, really? Hold on a sec. I'm looking this up now.
I think I heard that in some safari thing I went on.
Oh, some safari thing, Tom.
What was that about?
Look at she's going on safaris, jet setting around the world. I mean, Jesus Louise.
Wasting money left and right.
Where are you going on safari? And are you going to Kenya?
No, I went. But, you can't really trust tour guides. But why would they make that shit up?
Did you pose next to your husband with his rifle and his like rhino or giraffe or lion or something?
No. No, it wasn't a hunting thing. That would be yuck, gross.
Baby giraffe corpses.
Name the trait.
600 nitrous.
Okay.
I do have pictures of me petting rhinos and
nitro?
giraffes
Drop
and
the facts.
stuff like that.
Guys, let Tom drop the facts. He's about to
Okay.
drop
Wow. This almost hits too hard. don't know if I want to do this to Helena.
No, I would love it if it doesn't kill them.
Okay, Helena, you asked for it. This is an article about conservationists in Africa where they preemptively cut off the horn so that poachers don't
you know
target
what?
them.
I heard about that shit.
I think they do something similar to elephants, actually.
That seems painful as fuck.
I don't know.
No, but so right,
it's like
it
cutting
means
off
the metaphor stands.
Yes, yeah, it does.
There we go.
Do you have nerve endings there or no?
No, they don't.
It's
just
I heard
keratin.
about this before.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keratin. Yeah.
But isn't it? Yeah, okay, I guess.
Look, why are you guys
a
so
fingernail.
invested in fucking up my analogy? Like, what the fuck?
No, I just kind of care about rhinos. They would like seem cute.
Trust me, young.
Oh,
There's
man.
keratin. Just keratin.
Yeah.
Trust him.
Well, that's not a problem. Now, how are they going to defend themselves?
That's another problem. But we're not going to worry about.
It's not.
Oh no, yeah, that's not a problem.
So I think the important part is that the poachers are such dicks. They want to like dig out the horn by its root to get as much ivory as possible.
Oh God.
There's no ivory.
Isn't it all just called
Yeah,
ivory?
there is ivory.
No.
Yeah,
it's elephants.
Or is
Yeah,
it just
that's what they
elephants?
Teeth is ivory.
You know, they on the
Not
elephants.
Not fingernails.
Elephants have stopped, or seem to be trending towards not having tusks anymore. They think in response to this, mostly they think because of like natural selection, their hunters aren't killing the ones without tusks.
That's true. I read about that. Another cool thing, Tom, is that actually he's right. Elephants are the ones with ivory, but the reason why poachers go after, especially in Africa, they go after rhinos is because there's some superstition about having rhino horns for like some naturopath homeopathy. They think that it cures certain ailments.
we know, you're right.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's like shark fin soup.
Right.
That shit is like really brutal.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I think it. I mean, it's really just like. It seems to me like it's unnecessarily cruel to just like drop them back in the ocean, like fucking. Just waits, just like for them to like fall until the fucking bottom of the ocean. It seems like they could kill them before or something.
Something.
Doesn't
At
look
least.
like he's taking off much of the horn there.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Just taking off a little nub. Maybe he wants you to see how close he is to like. I don't know.
Don't dogs have like a bunch of nerve endings and even like blood vessels in their like nails or something?
Just
if
like
you get
us.
to the quick, yeah, it's just like people. When you're clipping in their nails, you have to make sure you don't get down to the quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a bad idea to put nerve endings in nails.
Intelligent design.
Because
How sad though. Come mating season, these rhinos are screwed. They're like, well,
no, but that's not how rhinos determine who they're going to mate with. What lady rhinos do? You see what happens?
I meant the fighting. I meant fighting other males.
No, listen. The boy rhino, he poops in one place for the whole year, and he makes himself a big poop pile. I saw this on a show. He makes himself a big poop pile. Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. He makes himself a big poop pile, and then when it comes mating time, the girly rhino goes around and says, "Ooh, silky smooth and big as a house. This is the man for me." They literally judge who their mate is going to be, at least partially on the size of their poop pile.
Oh, that's nice. But I've never done that. I was thinking more.
It's really sweet.
I was thinking more the fighting that tends to happen during mating season between males. That's what I
The amount of veins they have on their penises.
Humans.
Yeah, I thought the horn was more for display. In mating.
Isn't it like aren't like rhinos like the closest genetically, like the closest land mammal to like whales or something? They're like really closely like related.
No.
That's wild.
Well, yeah. Not as close as hippos though. Hippos are closer.
Oh, hippos. Okay.
To whales.
I've always found it very humorous that like hippos are like called that because they're like river horses or something.
Yeah. Hippo's horse and pot is river.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I just like imagine these scenarios of people encountering a thing for the first time and like calling it the thing. It's like that's a river horse.
JJ, imagine archaeologists 10,000 years from now encountering the word POTUS and thinking that a river goes through the White House.
Or encountering JJ's remains and saying, that's an annoying fuck.
Sometimes I do think about that. What will people find 10, 20,000 years from now, if they exist?
I mean, a bunch of shit, presumably. Like.
Also, what makes me somewhat sympathetic to more ancient civilizations.
Oh, also, Yuri, Josh is denying that Jack changed his position after that conversation.
Well, I never made a claim to
See,
change
okay,
it.
if I can, right quick. Rhinos
just real quick, and we're done, Ollie. I never made a claim. I never made a claim regarding Jack changing his position or anything. All I said was that Jack said he didn't think he got wrecked or anything by you.
Yeah, that was
well, of course, Jack would say. Of course, Jack would say that, even though Josh himself said that Jack was wrong.
Why is this being discussed again? I thought we.
Yeah, but
I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm going to say it is known that rhinos use their horns for several behavioral functions, including defending territories, defending calves from other rhinos and predators, maternal care, including guiding calves, and for foraging behaviors such as digging for water and breaking branches. That poor rhino is screwed.
But so, like, how close are they to going extinct? Has it been going better, or are they still like?
Depends on the subspecies. Depends on the subspecies. I don't think there's any white rhinos left. But there are other breeds of rhino that I think are coming back.
Making a comeback.
Yeah, I guess rhinos are also maybe closely related to whales.
I just saw a video about it and I thought it was really wild.
About whales?
About whales, yeah.
Yeah.
And mentioned rhinos as being.
Dogs are closely related to seals.
What video? Or by whom, do you remember?
Was
it a
no.
PBS thing?
It was yeah, I think it was some YouTube channel. It was pretty high budget. It seemed like one of these mainstream TV channels, but I think it was like just people on YouTube. I can probably search it up in my search history. It wasn't that long ago.
There's a PBS series called Eon. I subscribe to Eon and Spacetime, they're both PBS channels. And they're 15, maybe 20-minute long presentations on various subjects. Eon is more Earth stuff, prehistory, paleontology, geographic stuff, and then space-time is more physics and astrophysics.
But guys, Answers in Genesis is coming out with DVDs. It talks all about that stuff.
Oh, fuck.
Did you know that man lived with dinosaurs? And that those super long dagger-length teeth that Tyrannosaurus Rex had was really only for eating fruits.
No. What they say is that it's cutting through like really leafy plants, just like how a machete cuts through like brush or whatever. They basically compare.
Of course, that doesn't answer. It doesn't answer the fact that when you compare all the modern herbivores that exist, they almost have no incisors, whereas Tyrannosaurus Rex's mouth consisted of, I think, a jabillion incisors and like 8 molars.
Right, exactly. And we even see, and what's on top of that, we even see meat in their digestive tract, when we dig them up. So I mean,
well, they didn't have anything that would be called a molar.
I was like looking at this. I don't know why I was intrigued in watching like this Jeffrey Dahmer interview.
Ugh.
And there's this part where he like just like presumably forgets that he like killed a bunch of people and like ate their organs, and he starts lecturing people about how evolution like brings to a lack of meaning to people, and that he's found Jesus Christ in like jail after he like
Never
did
was
what he
there a
did.
more
It's like
righteous.
amazing.
Never was there a more righteous fucking prison shanking than in the case of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, he got fucked, right? He got beaten to death, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably told the fucking screws too, hey, we don't program with his kind.
No, and they're going to probably be saying that about Matt Bell when he is in there when they go, oh look, a nonce is here. Yeah.
He's too ugly to shag.
That's gonna
Oh
be
no.
brutal because he's like
They'll turn
he's
his
old.
asshole into the Lincoln Tunnel. He won't be able to walk.
That's gonna be terrible. I mean, it's just thinking how old he is. He's gonna just get abused. Like, fuck. It's like.
Well, they look at that forehead and it's Stacy vagina. They're gonna fuck the hell out of his skull.
Well, what the fuck does he have? It's like literally the scene where Palpatine gets like struck by Force lightning by Mace Windu, and he becomes like a scrotum. It's like him.
He becomes a scrotum.
It's uncanny, right?
It's like identical to him.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, no, it's like I tell people the last time I took a look down that trench, Luke Skywalker was trying to deke out Darth Vader.
No, they don't give two fucks in Scottish prisons. Those think the American ones are bad. Those ones fuck. They'll
Claire?
keep him in absolute isolation.
Sorry, Molly. Claire, have you ever actually fired a 600 Express Nitro rifle?
No. I do have a 338 Norma Magnum though, which is a smaller big.
The biggest I ever fired as a rifle was 300 Winchester Magnum, and it just about took my fucking shoulder off. That's a big girl. I can't imagine.
300 or 338 Norma was a bit bigger than that, but yeah, 300 Winchester Mag is probably.
I fired bigger weapons as like an emplaced weapon, or I got to play with a decommissioned flat cannon. Those are the ones that you have to fire with your feet because you're too busy working the tourney things to keep them on. Like you spin a couple of wheels and then you spin a couple of. It's hard to explain. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
You have to fire it with your feet. Those are 40 millimeter.
That
which is
sounds
strange.
super cool, guys.
Yeah, but my bell was probably. I mean, this is the perfect situation for him to become actually Christian. That man's going to be praying every day.
He's going to be praying.
They'll fuck the atheist right out of him.
It's kind of like satisfying, but also horrible to think about him being violently raped, gang raped.
He may start calling himself a Christian at the end.
He may start acting like one too.
Oh, he's going to act like something, and I think it's going to be more like a bitch.
The original Darth Dawkins. He was Darth Dawkins before Darth Dawkins was Darth Dawkins.
Just imagine the kind of enjoyment that could be reaped out of like Jack or any of the like insane DD followers if that happened to Darth.
Oh my god.
If like they knew that Darth would be raped in prison, they'd be
Jack
like,
would die of
in
orgasm. He would die of orgasm. He'd just be like, he'd die. That'd be it.
Oh my god, the atheist would cause a rip in the universe if that were to happen.
It'd be crazy if you could jizz yourself to death.
This is what the
Right?
atheists do.
That's what we do.
atheists like Tom on boxes,
Tom is an
Stalker,
agnostic.
checks, DD's location.
It would probably kill Jack.
Disappointing. Yeah, I mean, Jack.
He'd probably just have a moment of ecstasy and fall over dead.
It would be.
I've
I
always
have nothing
liked
left to live for now. My work here is done.
exactly. You see, I really like that kind of thing. I've always liked to think of Jack and Dee Dee as if their like fates were connected. That like the end of their life is gonna have like some eerie connection, right? That one dies like I
The
don't
other
know.
one feels it, grabs his chest.
Exactly right.
There's a shift in the universe.
One of the things I'm most interested about is like possibly like having a recording. What I wish he could materialize like these recordings of when they were like amicable to each other. They used to talk about computers and stuff. Must be so odd to hear them like be friends with each other.
Or friendly, at least, yeah.
All these situations are really weird. Even like that video that Gigi posted was really like eerie to me, where like Josh was like telling Shamos to fuck Godless or something when they weren't together yet. That was like pretty entertaining. Like it was news to me that Godless and Josh like developed a relationship via the internet. I didn't know that. I thought they knew each other in real life first or something.
Yeah, I remember both of them before they were dating. Because Godless was on GG, and then there's Godless was on G+, and then there's the Paltalk invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And it was especially eerie because like the kind of humor that they would exchange, like they're pretty like compatible. I feel like they're like similarly like raunchy, and their humor is like similar. So it was like, kind of destined to be the most dysfunctional couple to the eyes of outsiders.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to think that quite a few of us have known Gigi longer than Josh.
Yeah, it's weird.
Although obviously they know each other the best, but
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this guy, but if you know the YouTube channel with 11 million subscribers, the King of Random, he died last night.
So he just fell over randomly?
I don't know. I don't know too much.
Was nobody expecting it?
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone was expecting it. No.
It's actually not. It's the opposite of a problem for what we were talking about earlier, Yuri. We've decided that the best way to trick people into watching videos is to make some sort of object stick to other objects, whether that be goop, glue, magnets, tape, whatever, right? Now, he's left 11 million subscribers in the lurch by going up and dying. We could, how are you going to be able to get on that?
What were his videos about?
Science and stuff like that.
They were about basically making toilet roll tubes into egg cans and shit, just bullshit.
Yeah.
Like sticking what happens? Yeah, what happens when you stick a fork in a power outlet was one of his videos.
I believe dancing ensues.
That was his last video, in fact.
That might have something to do with how he died.
Exactly. This other YouTuber, this like live streamer, like killed himself like a month ago or something. Like jumped off the Manhattan Bridge. It was kind of
on purpose.
Oh.
Yeah. He like he deleted all his videos and posted like a suicide video, and then found him in the Hudson River like a few days later.
That's pretty fucking macabre.
Yeah. He was having one of those manic, when people have like, it's kind of the things that it's like a special thing that celebrities seem to have, where they have these manic episodes where they start to have like these like complexes of like grandeur and being like
Illusions
unbeatable
of grandeur.
and yeah, and feeling like they're like it's all this shit to do with manifesting energy and stuff. Like, I've seen a few celebrities suffer from that, and he had that. As if like he thought that he could like manifest a great fate onto the world, and that he was predestined to be this special figure when he fucking made videos on YouTube. And he lost a bunch of contacts and a bunch of friends over it because he was just going insane, saying the most ridiculous shit ever, getting in trouble with the law. And then I guess when, like right when it passed, when he like became aware of how retarded he was being, he like he was sad about not having any friends anymore and ruining his life, so he killed himself. So
Well, what normally happens is once they have that manic state, and then after that manic state, because the bipolar, it's like they don't even kill. They're either up or they're down. So they'll go manic, and then they drop into a deep depression. And as that progresses, that little spaces of even kill normalcy become shorter, because some of them will get manic, and then they'll come down, they'll even kill for a while, and then they'll drop and do it again. Eventually what happens is it just goes up and down, up and down, up and down. So they're either manic or they're depressed.
yeah, there's this was a bit more well known. There's this YouTuber called FuseTube. He's a big YouTuber. He has like 10 million subscribers or something. Complete, as Molly would say, Muppet, just like the epitome of like a donut, right? But he had like a big time manic episode, like for like months. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had organized an event where he claimed all these like big stars would come, like Drake. Turned out he had lied about like ever contacting any big celebrity. No one showed up, and then a bomb threat like happened at the event, and people had to evacuate the venue. And then he fucking went insane. Arrived at the spot, like got bare chested and started rapping and like screaming like a fucking maniac. It was insane. It was just like there was no rhyme or reason to anything he was doing.
You see, a lot of times you'll see that happen if the person cold turkeys their medication, and it'll put them to like a psychotic episode, and whatever, they'll either go way manic or way depressed, and yeah, it's really sad to see.
Yeah.
But had they all just had the gift of meditation and a healthy diet.
I mean, there must be something fundamentally like really incoherent about that kind of statement where you're like, if you just had the positive mindset, it's like, seems like almost question begging. It's like, I mean, if you didn't feel depressed, you wouldn't be depressed. Okay. That's the kind of like level of garbage that like
No,
sugar is able to.
my favorite one was always, what do you have to be depressed about? You have a good life. You have this and that. It's like, what? Do you not understand anything about depression? Depression has nothing to do with the fact that have this or that, or yeah, it's quite interesting. I've dealt with that personally.
Like unintuitive.
Why are you? Oh, oh, you've been home for X long. When are you going to let that go? What? Oh, you're right. What the fuck was I thinking? Let me just put this all down. I feel much better now. Thank you. God, years of therapy, and it just needed one person to say, just let it go.
Yeah. On intuition, I mean, maybe this is probably even wrong, but on intuition, it seems like to me like like people who are more well off are like more frequently like depressed or something. Now that seems like kind of to follow with my experience, although I'm sure it's probably false. I mean, like many people who are like in my kind of same situation, wealth-wise or lifestyle-wise, seem to be more frequently like in a slump than people who maybe have a bit less, right?
Sort of like, yeah. What do you get the person who has everything?
Sorry?
It's a bit like, what do you get the person who has everything?
What do you get?
Okay, what do you get the person who has everything?
I don't get the structure of that sentence for some reason. It's not registering. It's not like clicking in my
No,
head.
you reach the point to where you have everything. There's no satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
there are no new discoveries. Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's I mean, like the intuition that I have is that like when you're a bit more well adjusted, like life becomes kind of mundane or something. There's like not much new that happens, so you kind of like in this endless loop of doing the same shit over and over again.
Right. Or perhaps the fact that they've been fighting something their entire life, running from the deeper problems, depression and whatnot, thinking, if I just obtain this, then I'll be happy. If I just achieve this, then I'll be happy. Realizing once they received it and achieved it, that it didn't fix.
Yeah, that's true. Many celebrities put it like that when they're going through a rough time, like that they're disillusioned with what they thought would like better their life or something.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Yuri, the squid ink pasta, that's like something pretty common in Italy, and it's really good actually.
You said it's common in Italy?
It's good.
No, I know. Yeah, it's good.
People eat that shit.
From
It's kind of good. I really like it.
Yeah, I want to try it.
It's kind of aesthetically unpleasing to me to see like this black shit, but it's good.
Looks really cool, to be honest with you. Personally, for me, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I clicked on it.
Oh yeah, if I may ask you, what was the fascist thing about last night?
Oh, I got upset at Eon.
Oh, I know, I was there. I was listening. I just no, I understood it. But when you were talking about, I'm now a fascist, I was like, what the heck?
No, it's just that Yuri. I think it's partially like ironic or something. But when he gets mad at a person, he'll often like say that he'll take up a position that's the contrary of what that person holds. So like seeing as to how I'm like allowed for leftist, I'll become fascist or something.
Okay. I assumed that it meant something to you, but I was like, what the hell?
I really like that channel, Yuri. Binging with Babish. I really like.
Oh yeah.
When it's like late at night and you're like hungry and shit, and you want to torture yourself with like food videos, I just watch that shit. Also, because it's entertaining for the connections to like whatever shows he's referencing.
Yeah. I wish I could go to the store and buy the ingredients to make that black spaghetti.
I probably wouldn't advise like spending my. I hold the view that like homemade pasta is kind of like a waste of time. It's like so messy to do and like it's not really that much better than like if you buy like good brand pasta.
Yuri, I'd advise against making that shade of pasta because you might think like your tongue's melting or something as you slurp it up. You might be confused. You might think it's like your fucking esophagus is falling back out. You're eating your own hair. What's
You
that
should
shit
do
called when
cool
you eat?
shit with your hair.
What's that called when you eat your own hair? Trityptophobia. What's that called? When you eat your hair?
I don't know.
It's got a name.
Who the fuck eats their hair?
I don't know. I went out with this girl that did it. She would pull out her hair and eat it.
Yummy. What the fuck?
Don't lose connection all the time. I heard you ask something, Ray, but I didn't get all of it. What did you ask?
What's it called when you eat your own hair? It's like a condition or something, probably that Ray is referring to.
Oh, something phasia. Try.
Yeah, I got it. Try something. It's trichophagia.
Yeah,
I can't say that.
Trichophagia.
Trichophagia, yeah. Trick is the hair bit and phagia.
Yeah, trichophagia.
I was telling you have like probably nappy hair. You should do cool shit with your hair, like braid it or something, or have jerry curls. That'd be hilarious.
No, I don't have nappy hair. I always do my hair in like an aviator cut.
No, but you can make it grow out, presumably.
Yeah, I've been making it grow out for quite some time now. I wanted to get like really long, so my aviator cut looks even cooler.
No, you should do like cool shit with it. You should do like crazy like braids and stuff. That'd be cool. That's what I would do if I had like nappy hair. I would like do crazy shit with it.
Yuri, you should do your hair like Prince, right? In this photograph. Could you pull that off, Yuri?
Oh.
No, I'm not at that point yet.
But what you would do is then, right, and then to attract a woman, you'd make some of that black pasta and you put it in like a bowl at the back, like a little bowl, and then you could complain about your trichophobic and just start munching on your own hair out the ice cream parlor.
Oh.
Give yourself something to talk about, and all the girls would listen. I banged that girl just because she was eating her own hair. Now, part of it was because, well, I mean, it was easy, but another part is that it is kind of cool, right? Just imagine it, Yuri.
Really cool. But yeah, you should generally do like a jerry curl, like the kind of hairstyle that Michael Jackson had, or Eazy-E. You know Eazy-E? Yeah, that kind of hair. Like when black people did a little like natural curl thing. That's like really cool.
Yeah, make your hair look like pubes.
Exactly.
That's always good luck.
Yeah, I need to comb it out actually. My hair's becoming like too compressed and curly. I need to comb that out.
Then you can have the girl who has, what is it called? Chuka Brazel.
Oh my god.
I think it's the hairball. Ooh.
Occasionally, hairballs are often the problem with these kinds of disorders are when the hair accumulation begins. The problem is when the stomach begins trying to digest it, right? So these hairballs can often accumulate within your intestines or abdominal area. And there was a case where a young girl from the Middle East had an ingestion of too much hair, and as a result, this created a massive cyst. Probably about 3/4 of her size, right? So, and this was life-threatening, almost died. And I'm a medical undergrad. I'm aware of these types of cases, even though I'm going to be focusing on geriatric neurology, right?
Oh yeah.
Yuri, I put your picture into one of those face apps, and I generated the look. It says this is the apex predator look for you.
Exactly.
That's exactly what you're gonna want. Look, it does look cool
Yuri,
with
that's
sunglasses.
a good look. That's a good look for you, Yuri.
So, Clara, can you tell me what you invited me to?
You got to pout.
A better server.
Take a picture of me.
Better server, right?
Is this revolutionary?
Wait,
no, this is quantum
it's
physics.
quantum physics. Yeah, this is a much better.
Wait, Ray, did you take a picture like I've posted, and then you like did stuff?
Yes, it's a digital creation from some sort of face app.
So, am I permitted to call Kathleen a heretic, by any chance?
I don't think anyone would have a problem with that.
Yeah, I think she agrees that she's a heretic.
If she agrees that she's a heretic, then that's at most funny circumstance.
Talking about Kathleen Tanner?
Yeah, nobody else.
Yeah, of course she's a heretic.
But it's to the point where she accepts she's a heretic and then openly sins in the name of God.
She thinks that heresy is like some kind of moral obligation. It's a really bizarre view.
But understanding, if you're going to call yourself a Christian, you're going to openly deny several parts of the Bible. You're openly denying the holy book of Jesus Christ and the whole religion, right? So, forgive my terrible English, I'm trying to compensate. Yes, but in essence, if you're going to be denying Bible passages, for instance, the biggest one involving Kathleen is Deuteronomy 23:1. It says, a eunuch whose private parts are cut off shall not be admitted into the assembly of the Lord. And Kathleen openly denies that. But if you're going to be accepting that you're a heretic, then I do not know what to say. It's not even funny, it's ironic. It's sort of like nihilism in its own sense.
I mean, she denies much of the Bible.
Then why be a Christian if you deny the Bible? That's not... It's not great if you deny the Bible and you're Christian.
What if they're castrated against their own will and they're still they're done for?
Yeah.
Like when they used to castrate children.
Yeah.
This is why eunuchs exist, because these people were castrated as they were usually actually their noses cut off, they were blinded, and if they were castrated, then they could not be admitted to assembly Lord. This was their punishment. So you'd often have royals that committed the heinous crimes. They'd often be castrated.
Who the fuck is this guy?
This was in the Byzantine.
Hold on, Quantum. For context, I was on the New Blue Politics, and they were trying to discuss Darth's merits as a debater. So I invited some random people in here to come tell us all about how good Darth is at debating. And Quantum just joined, and he wants to talk about Kathleen for reasons on it.
The new Blue Politics? What do you mean? The New Blue Politics?
I did link Kathleen's Peanuts Tooth video, though, so that might be what inspired this particular conversation.
Wait, what do you mean, the New Blue
Here, I'll
Politics?
show you. Probably Tim, one of the owners of the original Blue Politics, made a splinter server. I can't post in general. Where can I post this?
I just posted to my DMs if you wish.
Has somebody tagged Kathleen? See if she'll come in.
Someone should.
Yes.
It's always funny to hear her try and rationalize her beliefs.
I think Kathleen will have an interesting time hearing my voice, which he so despises.
Why?
Oh, because bad history.
Oh, because you spoke.
I made him feel insecure.
I thought. No, I misunderstood. I thought just because of your accent, she would advise it. But okay.
Normally, some of my specialties are gaslighting in all the proper ways.
Oh.
Nice.
Which is interesting.
You coward with your fucking DM filter.
Wait, what?
All I heard was coward if you DM Pogan.
I said you coward with your DM filter. He has the nudity filter on his.
Who has it?
That's retarded.
Young?
I don't have it. What do you mean?
You just posted. Oh. You could just post it in like NSFW or
Really?
something.
I don't fucking know how that. I don't know.
You go to
what?
the settings cog, you go to privacy, and then you set it to live on the edge.
Just post it on what's it called NSFW. That's
Oh, okay. I probably messed with it like unintentionally, but yeah, send me whatever you were. It's probably
put my
nudes.
posts in there.
You know why I turned the
Whatever.
filter on? Because some random troll was sending everybody child porn on one server, so I had to set my privacy to maximum.
Yeah, I mean it's just Claire persecuting me with pictures of herself like always. You know, it's been like a year now.
So
I'm
what
just
is
used-
this finger sending, Claire? What is this finger sending?
Oh, don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'm being raped by Claire. I just
Yuri,
wanted to say that.
that's an alpha look. So
There's cake. I have no cake.
I genuinely think that
you
it
go.
looks good on the
Chronic
guy
results.
who's in the Wikipedia thing.
Oh, you have.
The shirt's pretty dope too. And what's good is that he's not afraid about getting that grease on the shirt collar. He's almost saying the shirt's disposable to me because that isn't washing out.
I think the
Yuri, can you give us, like-
it's about time for the Jerry curl to make its comeback.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't
Yeah, I
know
remember
why it's
Michael
not.
Jackson with the Jerry curl.
Just all the gangster rappers and shit used to have that. Just 90s shit.
You need to bring back the mullet, you know? The mullet.
Back.
No, the mullets can stay wherever they are.
Not as much as it
The
was. You remember
Jerry
Yarner
curl.
Yager, right? Yager's mullet was
I'm
legendary.
thinking like maybe just like short on the sides, but the top is like long and Jerry curled. I mean, it can't be just the same exact thing, so it's got to be a little bit different.
There's got to be a wet element to the hair, though. There's got to be an element of it. It has to be perma-wet. Now, Yuri, can you give us daily updates on when you achieve this?
Well,
I'm almost saying like
I'm thinking
on
a
the
wet
hour.
look here. A wet look, Ray. Like it's not actually.
Now, it must be the case that it's kind of like always a bit. Now, people are always a bit afraid of like touching you, right?
Oh, Lord.
That's why gangsters would
Right.
have it.
You want it to look like you're caked in Vaseline, and you're going to ruin any upholstery that you sit on, or any car interior, and possibly anything in your vicinity. You'd also fight off those pesky bitches trying to eat your hair, Yuri, because you know they're going to want to touch it.
Oops. Okay.
John just pulled the "but I'm not a rapper," like unironically. I'm not a rapper, just a guy who writes rap songs and raps. But I'm not a rapper.
I broke up with my girl. Here's her number. Psych! That's the wrong number.
Fucking amazing videos.
Yo, my name is Jandra, and I'm on the mic. Something, something. You take it away, John.
Those videos are so funny. I still like find them funny. There's like the second rap battle parody where there's Mute Spitta, who's like the mute rapper who like raps in sign language and everyone goes crazy. It's hilarious.
My favourite one is the one where they dub over these two black guys rap battling, and they just do it in a very like white middle class, in like the translation of it. It's like, I question your sexual orientation.
Send me that.
They're terrible. You're a nerd.
You don't like the rap battle parody videos? The ones that there's the gif of? They're lame? What are you talking about?
Well, you're
There's like
lame,
classic
so
videos.
I'm sure you would construe them to be funny.
I'm the opposite of lame.
That's it. I found the video. It's brilliant.
Oh, fucking hell. It's like the revolving Muppet show in here. John. There's no end. No end.
Yeah, but John's a lesser Muppet, though. I mean, we're kind of used to his Muppetry. Sugar is a new Muppet.
Sugar probably is worse than John Donner in some sense.
Oh no, Sugar is. He far exceeds any winding up that Mark Thomas was able to achieve with.
Mark Thomas is a piece of shit.
But he's on the same level mentally. I believe it's just the fucking bollocks that comes out of his mouth. Just absolutely. I'm telling you, there's been times that I could make it to Seattle in hours.
That's true. That guy looks like Dio.
I mean, it's a bad thing to sit here and literally think I could physically hurt this person.